yesterday.
Well, here we are again. And shut up, Mr. Studios, I'm talking now.
Too bad, we're hijacking your stream to watch something completely different.
So, yeah,
Yes.
so today, watch along, Star Trek Enterprise, Season 2, Episode 13. Yes, 13. That's 2 in Celsius, whatever. Okay. Actually, I think it's like -10 or so. Doesn't matter. So, if this is your first watch along, what you do is you queue up the episode Dawn, which is Season 2, Episode 13 of Enterprise, and then when the countdown hits 0, you press play.
And then 20 minutes into the stream, you have to ask Ryan why it's blurry.
And I'm going to
No, 20 minutes into the stream, you have to remind Ryan that it's not blurry yet, and he needs to blur it.
And then once he does blur
Whichever
it,
one
then
is
you have to ask
you
why
do
it's
the opposite.
blurry.
Yeah.
The reason it's going to be blurry and there's going to be no show audio is because copyright, okay? There, I answered your question right away. It's because copyright. So you queue up your own episode, and it's just going to be the audio of us talking. Look, there's an American. Just the audio of us talking.
Sorry, the
And then
British
we
still
can-
outnumber the Americans in the VC. We're recolonizing again.
What have I stepped
And
into?
even the one who's... you stepped into Ryan being annoyed that his audience is mostly English.
Well, no,
Oh,
not
the Brits love Star
his
Trek,
voice
though.
chat. Yeah.
Let's be honest, the British love Star Trek.
But the majority
Yes.
of
Yeah,
my
I was-
audience and viewers is American.
Yeah,
So
well,
when I w-
the British more interactive, like we said.
Yes, Michael?
I went to the UK in 2001, just over like New Year's, so I was there for a few weeks. And we had a tour bus that was driven, obviously by a British guy who had a TV in there and had his PlayStation 1 hooked up with a Star Trek game in there. That's all he was saying.
Let's go. That's brilliant.
Oh yeah, I need to get Netflix ready, don't I?
Do you?
Well, I can watch through your Discord. I suppose,
No, you
but-
can't. I would never stream illicit material through Discord.
I have access to it, so it's not technically illegal.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway,
if you own the material...
how's your weather, Michael? We've established that everywhere else because, it's winter. It's cold.
It's cold here too. It's
Is it
24
also-
right now.
Wow, that's very
Fahrenheit.
cold.
I can tell you how it is in South Africa right now, my parents are. So...
For you Brits, that's -4.
Also, is
Trust
there
me,
a
we've been
bee
having a
story in
conversation
Dawn
about
out?
this for a little while.
Oh yeah, the B story in Dawn is just it's Archer going and talking to the alien captain. Because the alien pilot crashed with Trip, and they have to go find the captain. And they have a nice chat.
So, did you say it was -4? That's not fun.
Yeah, -4C.
Yeah,
So-
that's it's
South
cold.
Africa
But...
right now, where I come, like the specific
The whole
town where I come from,
271K.
it's 23 Celsius or 73 Fahrenheit in the evening. And it reached a maximum of 27 Celsius or 80 Fahrenheit today.
Oh, also, more stream business. If you want to join the voice chat, there's a link to Discord in the description. You click on it and you're in. Actually, there's technically a 5-minute waiting period where it won't let you join a voice chat for the first 5 minutes you're in the server. But, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
You'll join in for the second episode when I won't be here. Unfortunately, I'm leaving after the first one.
Well, you're also going to miss Jeffrey.
Yes, let's talk about.
Yeah.
The rest of the world is actually sensible. It kind of annoys me that Brits still use miles.
It does annoy me a little bit as well.
It's
Coming
understandable
from a
because
country, because I come from a country where it does make sense because we use kilometers in South Africa.
30 seconds, everyone be queued up.
What would we use if not miles?
kilometers, which is better, but I suppose it's because it would be harder to learn, and as it's on the road, you don't want people to be struggling thinking about.
Oh, but it makes
Yeah,
even
the
more
answer to
sense
that is
because
I don't know
like,
how long a kilometre is. I know how long a mile is.
Yeah,
I know how
that's
long
the
a
reason
kilometer
for
is
it.
because I grew up with it, so it would transition slowly.
Yeah, you sound like
I
you're
mean,
talking like a foreigner. and
Europe-
let's be honest.
Everybody
did
get
it.
ready to press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
I mean,
It's one of
Europe
those
did
things where we're going
transition
to
to
ignore the
kilometers, so it is definitely
I
possible.
blurred the screen. Don't ask me why.
Why is the stream blurred?
Shut up. Dozens of Wait, is this just Jupiter?
Yes, that is a very appropriate abbreviation for his name, Stoopy Dog God. For the other connotation, which I won't say here.
So, what were we talking about? Temperature. God.
Jupiter, I think. He's just scanning. Wait, is that like? That looks like a variety snack tray. They just put some circuit boards in it.
Trays are all important components of your spacecraft.
Yeah, man.
He's removed the impulse array. Well, he's like, oh, why is my communications not working? I've removed the communication pan.
This episode is just a worse version of Darmok.
It's not a version of Darmok, it's a version of the enemy.
Yes.
Which one's
Which
the
I guess
enemy?
is kind of a version of a prototype of Darmok, maybe.
Yeah.
Except,
I mean,
actually,
there are
I
only
guess
Geordie
there's
Romulan.
both.
lines, like
There's both.
Yeah, but Geordie and the Romulan could talk to each other.
Yeah, but in Darmok, they're not, like, dying.
Well, until
Sure
the
they
end.
are. The captain dies.
also there's absolutely no explanation here of how the alien gets to the planet.
Well, there's only one
He's
way
in
to
a
get there,
shuttle.
and it's by going down.
But
Because it didn't shoot back.
Yeah. There's no reason for the alien to go follow him.
He wants to make sure- he wants
vanishingly
to confirm
unlikely
the
if they were
kill.
both crashing that they would hit the same spot, even roughly.
Yeah.
Star Trek thinks that planets are about 100 square meters, so...
True.
Because when you beam down, you
Star
instantly
Trek
beam
thinks
down to the only
anything.
civilization on the entire planet.
Well, that's because they choose to.
Yeah, you always
No,
have
but
to
like
land
even when
flat.
they don't, when they're just like, oh, let's scout an area, let's beam down to the first area.
Yeah, and
It's like,
according to
it's
Star
only
Trek,
alien
all
on
of
screen.
Earth is San Francisco.
That's okay. Every
I
alien
mean,
planet
or
is
maybe
McKinley
French.
Park or a cave.
Oxford. They do visit Oxford.
Do they?
Yeah, they
Oh,
do.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
oh,
they do.
they're all
Visit,
dead.
So
um,
basically, all of America is San Francisco. All...
Very good headphones.
They do go to Portland.
and where's
once.
Cisco from? Yeah, there we go.
Cisco's
Cisco's
from
from Portland,
New
Oregon.
Orleans.
New Orleans.
So,
But yeah,
Is he from New
Washington is Oxford.
Yeah.
I swear he's from Portland, Oregon. Let me look this up.
Oh, his
Where is
sister
the
lives in
Cisco
Portland.
His
hey,
sister
look,
lives
that's a lot
in
of
Portland.
moons. There's a lot of moons there.
Okay, so it's not Jupiter. It sounded like Jupiter the way they described it.
It's
Pretty
blue
much
Jupiter.
all gas giants are going to have lots of moons,
Yeah.
and are large.
Saturn's moons are kind of lame. It doesn't have nearly as many. It's all on Jupiter.
Saturn has Titan, which is cool.
Yeah, we do also see Paris. A little bit.
Reed is in a bad mood. He's not blowing stuff up.
Please let me
Um,
shoot the alien ship. I've been very good this month.
I don't know
Saturn has
which
82
who's
moons. I
worse
don't know what you're
about
talking
that.
about.
62 moons around this planet. In this area, in fact. That's a lot of moons, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, most of
Well,
them are
Saturn
probably.
has 82.
This is moons with atmospheres we're talking about, not just moons.
Why is
not
he
just,
yelling?
asteroids and things.
Saturn has
Right.
one moon with an atmosphere.
All Star Trek moons have atmospheres as well, though. All planets
They're
are
all
very
in
small.
class, every single one.
Yeah, even though no moon in our, or very few moons in our solar system have any kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, but all the space moons have atmospheres. It's obvious.
What's the difference between a moon and a space moon? They're all space moons. What do you mean?
No. Space moons aren't real moons.
Every
I mean, I
single
think-
article I can see about Jupiter, it has a different amount of moons.
What
Is
are you
that because
doing
we
with
keep finding new ones?
Yeah, I mean, apparently
Yeah.
it has between 80 and 600.
Oh.
Take your pick.
This episode's directed by
It
B'Elanna
also depends on
Torres.
how you define a moon.
Yeah, I think it's
You can
not
define
like
each of
above
those ring
0.8
fragments
kilometers
as a
in
moon.
diameter.
Is there a lower size boundary that they work off?
I think the lower size boundary, I'm not sure what it is, but that brings it to 80. But if you take that away, it's 600. And I think it's 600 for above 800 meters in diameter,
Wow.
which is quite a lot.
If
Well,
there's a
what-
lower size boundary, it's real low
For-
because Mars's moons are basically
4 moons with
non-existent.
atmosphere on around Jupiter.
Yeah, but
Apparently.
when you only have well, there's 4 big ones, like really big ones.
Like the
Mars is
Enterprise
doing this.
tech
Mars
set.
moons are easier to define because there's only 2 of them, whereas Jupiter,
Yes.
you've got so many. You need to kind of find.
I don't know. I really like Venus's moons. They're pretty cool.
In total, around the solar system, we have the Moon, Ganymede, Europa, Callisto for Jupiter, Rhea, Dione, and Enceladus for Saturn, and Titania for Uranus all have extremely thin atmospheres.
Yeah.
So that is just in our entire solar system 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 moons in the entire solar system have atmospheres.
And just to point out that none of those atmospheres contain
Can support
any
life.
amount of oxygen or something.
Yeah.
Like that, you know.
It could support life. Maybe there's a life form that lives on sulfuric acid.
True, but none
Well,
of them
that's why
support
I think
human
there
life.
might be life on Titan, but not human life.
I can never remember. Is it
Jen, but not
Ganymede
as
or
we know it.
Callisto that's the one that we think has an ocean? Or is that Europa? That might be Europa.
Europa, I thought.
Europa has some ice on it.
Yeah, it's mostly ice covered.
Sucker, get your gun.
Tucker, you did bring a gun, right?
No.
Why would you bring a gun to a planetary survey mission?
You always bring a gun.
You
Tucker
always
says
have
no
a
to
gun on your
guns.
name.
He doesn't like them.
He should.
It's anti-gun.
He's Southern. He loves guns, by definition.
Also, he's been exiled to space. He doesn't love guns. This is his
Oh,
backstory.
we're
I
now
do find
even
quite-
on Americans to Brits.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Damn it.
we need more coal in the cavalry.
Cavalry.
Okay.
Is that what your guys' military consists of these days?
Yeah.
Is that why
Yeah,
the British
Royal
Empire
Navy still
fell?
exists.
The Royal Navy is the cavalry. They ride horses on the ships these days.
Okay, who's that guy? Who is that? We've met him before, I'm certain.
I don't know.
Archer's just like, Paul,
feel
get
like-
off.
He kind of reminds me of an Andorian voice. Is he an Andorian? Who's this guy?
He is a
Brad
Andorian in
Greenquist.
disguise.
He was an Andorian?
Mm.
Yeah, you're really smart, Ryan. Holy shit. I'm amazed.
I can't see where he was an Andorian, but he was a Rigelian. He was a Rigelian in Enterprise. He was someone named Crit in Who Mourns for Morn. Oh, I know where I know him from. The episode where Morn fake dies. He fakes his own death, and some people show up looking for his money.
Mm.
He's one of the 2 brothers. And he plays someone in Voyager who I don't recognize, Demis.
I don't get how this patrol ship has crash landed at all because it took no damage.
Yeah, the shuttle pod doesn't have any weapons, so there's no way it could have taken damage unless it physically hit.
I think
The shuttle
pod
has weapons.
yeah.
The shuttle
It
has
has
weapons?
guns. Yeah.
Oh,
Does
the,
it?
the guy,
What?
the alien who
Does it have...
the alien who Trip has to deal with on the surface of the planet also played Gallatin in Insurrection, who was the henchman of Rafu, played by F. Murray Abraham.
Oh, Galna.
Yep.
Did we ever hear his Sona name? I only remember what the Swedish lady called him.
Yeah, his F. Murray Abraham's character says his Sona name at one point.
Okay.
If you're not really
Was the
hiding that
NX-01
well.
hard-coded? Like the Enterprise D is?
Is what hard-coded?
The NX01. You always see them taking out these chips and replacing them to like change the functionality of the computer. Look at this.
Yeah, I guess that's just how they work on punch cards.
Okay, you need to be more consistent in your setup, because quite clearly he shot
You
down
need to be more
your
consistent.
engines, and apparently now your engines are both affected by the same thing.
Dawn, there's a title drop. Guys, still need to make that video with all the title drops from one series. Not all of them. That's a lot. So that's
I
gone.
thought of a video idea the other day, and you put it in video suggestions.
If anyone else has ideas for videos, you can go to the Discord link in the description and leave it in the video suggestions text channel.
That's clearly not. Come on, that clearly does not sound like an actual person talking. You can hear that it's a recording.
It's close enough. It's not like this guy can tell the difference. He's never heard a human.
I suppose, but it sounds very radio-y.
Tell me more about this little lamb.
Why did Trip
yes,
have
you
to
can see
rearrange
one
the
of the
computer
wires
chip
from that
to
thing in
play an
other
audio noise?
He had to rearrange them because each chip held a phonetic sound of his voice, and he had to arrange them in just the right way.
Why would you leave it behind?
Yeah, just take it.
Just take the whole setup.
How about
Yeah.
you pick up a big rock, and when he comes looking, you hit him with the rock,
And
Yes,
that's what's
throw a
about
rock
to
at him.
happen.
and then you take the
Maybe.
So
gun.
it happened in Arena when Kirk fought the Gorn, but it
Yeah,
turned out the
it worked.
Gorn could throw a bigger rock.
And the Gorn is immune to rocks.
Yes. Yeah, he dropped that
Except for
giant
very,
rock at the
very,
Gorn,
very
and the
big
Gorn
rock.
didn't give a crap. The Gorn was fine. The Gorn's costume was not fine, though. There was like a very clear hole in the Gorn's costume's armpit. Yeah. But it's established later on that the Gorn bleeds red, but the Gorn is not bleeding. So it's just a costume glitch.
Why does this alien carry around a hairdryer if he doesn't have hair? Oh no, it's a gun.
Yes.
He's just really polite for any haired aliens he comes across.
I have been considering getting a hairdryer myself. I've been growing it out, and it's not long.
How long's your hair?
It's not long. It's like what, 5 inches, 4 inches. So it's still relatively short, but God, it takes like 10 times longer to grow or to dry than when I kept it to half an inch.
I just let my hair dry on its own, but it does take a long time. And my hair is about 3 feet long, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe more
I
like
think drying
2.5.
time's going to be my primary factor in considering how long I'd let it grow. Because it's only going to get worse from here.
Long hair sucks.
You can
Don't
cut
do it. I wanna.
Buzz cuts are so easy. You just run it over your head at the same length and you're done.
Maybe I will.
What is that? This guy's got Suliban eyes a little bit.
All alien
Yellow.
lizards have yellow eyes.
Is there a connection between Hikaru Sulu and the Suluban? I think so. We need this question answered.
Well, if you would like to leave it in the video suggestions text channel.
No, that would be a crappy video.
Discord.gg/A29TQCTHR6.
That'd be a really crappy video. You should
Read out
do
your
that.
Discord link.
That's all my video. Well, most of them.
Some of them were good. Like that 2-dimensional Troy video that you made. That was really funny.
I wonder why you would think that.
God, I hate Paramount Plus so much right now.
Oh my god,
did
it's
they
terrible.
do?
I was using it the other day. Like, I was watching Star Trek yesterday, with other people, and I was streaming
You
it, and
what?
the subtitles, don't work. So they're backwards.
I can't even
And then
get
they
them to
stop
show up right
working
now.
about 2/3 of the way through the video. Can you believe that?
Yeah, they're not working on my screen anymore. It's incredibly frustrating.
You were
Yeah, just
watching
join the
Star Trek
Discord
with a
and
different
stream
group?
it. Yes, I was.
Gross.
In fact.
I'm in the Discord, but
often.
The betrayal.
The Discord does not have subtitles.
It's true.
I don't have subtitle files. Well, I have
Okay.
something that says track 1 English, but it just gives me a timestamp, and that's not helpful. It's not even a
So
real
yeah, on
timestamp.
TBS, if the subtitles like have more than one line, I think specifically if it's 3 lines, the third line will show up on top of the first 2.
Yeah,
It's very
real
weird.
bad.
Oh,
And I don't know how this is acceptable. Like, I don't know how this is a shipped product that's been out for like 2 years that they find
His
this
first English
okay.
word. Did he just swear as his first word on my Star Trek?
Did you know in Star Trek 4, Kirk says double dumbass on you?
Yes.
It's truly
Yes,
scandalous.
famously.
can't
Wow.
believe they got that past the censors.
Well,
It's a movie.
They were
Movies
free
can
to
do whatever they
stuff for
want.
the movies. Yeah. It was for the TV show they were being censored. They used some strong swears in the movies.
Yeah, there's that really weird scene where Data swears.
Yeah, when he famously says as they're crashing on the planet, "Oh heck."
That would be funnier. That would literally be a better line.
It really would.
Is it not going to be water?
No, it's going to be some gross brown
Yeah,
fluid.
poor Data in the TNG movies. It's all the really awkward lines.
It's something that's thick enough that he can pick it up in his hand and put it
It's
back in.
Kanar. Why are you spilling his Kanar?
But also, it's not sticky at all because clearly he doesn't get any sand in it.
So it's like putty. Ew. Why do you expect him to know what you mean?
He's
He's
trying
an
his
alien.
best. He's
Each
trying.
day I go.
Yeah, really any excuse to take his shirt off, huh?
Rick Berman, was this you? Wait, Roxanne directed this
There's a
episode.
lot of
Probably
light
Roxanne.
already. Isn't it dawn already?
Is this a
There's a lot of
Roxanne
light.
special?
Yeah, she didn't write it, but she directed this episode. Yeah.
Yeah, she's directed quite a lot of episodes. I think the directing's pretty good in this episode. I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. Roxanne does good work.
I have healing
seems-
saliva.
That seems really helpful. Is that what they...
Why
what
is
they
it a
use in the future?
projectile? Do you think he has like do you think he can spit a lot of different liquids? Like, do you think he also has like poison liquids that he can spit, like a spitting cobra?
Does he
Also,
have
why
an
would he assume that would
indigestion
work?
cure?
Yeah,
It would be
that's
really
what I've
funny
always
if,
wondered.
if his healing one that would normally heal him was like an anticoagulant or something instead.
Imagine,
It's actually just acid.
imagine if it turned Tucker into that alien.
Like healing saliva, that makes perfect sense. Like I'm fine with that. But projectile healing saliva, what?
Why not?
Why not just have him lick it? That'd be more
Well,
awkward.
Because that's gross.
I mean that is in the animal kingdom. Animals lick wounds to get
They
the
do that.
enzymes in saliva
Like
onto
that would
the
be way
wound.
better. Like seriously.
Also,
Like
why is his communication relay full of whatever he drinks?
Trip, that's not very
They're
nice.
different fluids. They're just the same color. Come on.
Are you sure they're different fluids?
Mostly. Hang on, there's not a hole in that gun.
It's mine.
Yeah,
That's
lasers
a
don't need a
solid
hole.
end. Yeah, they do.
Chip, what if pick them up in his language means throw them on the floor and break them? You don't know.
Yeah, he should have been a bit more gestureful with that.
Trip isn't a diplomat. He just fixes the engine. That's his job.
I kind of feel bad for the actors with that prop, because it just shines a light in their eyes and they have to stare at it.
I think it's probably a soft light. I doubt it hurts their eyes.
I hope it doesn't.
Because I'm sure they would have just complained until they made it a softer light.
170 degrees.
Celsius or Fahrenheit.
And I guess they really don't give a shit about the comfort of actors on Star Trek.
That was
Well, yeah.
primarily
Celsius
to Paul's
or
prop, and who's to Paul
Kelvin.
gonna complain to? Rick Berman. Think he's gonna help?
I always kind of thought that they'd measure temperature in Kelvin in space.
Well,
Nice.
it's not as easy for most things.
I don't
'Cause
think the
you're always
average
having to
viewer
count.
knows about Kelvins.
Yeah, and you're also always having to count the additional 273.3. It's not an easy number to add to everything.
You don't have to remember the decimal. It's not important.
Celsius and Kelvins are literally the
Are
same.
you an engineer or are you a
Whatever.
mathematician? Because if you're an engineer, the decimal's not important. If you're a mathematician, the decimals are very important.
Yes.
But like space is like kind of a couple of degrees Kelvin, so that's why it always kind of made sense to me that surely, you know, what's the outside temperature to Pole? 3.
Yeah.
Do you think that Trip Tucker thinks that pi is 3? Of engineer brain?
Well, yeah, Trip
Do you
definitely
think he thinks
Because
the
he's
sine of
from
x
Florida?
equals x?
he probably
think he
thinks
thinks
that
that.
whatever warp constants all round nicely as well.
Have they started calling them Cochranes yet? Like the warps, the things in the warp.
I don't know what it measures, but there's
Badoza?
it measures something.
Also, I like
Those
how
cliffs
they're-
look very familiar. I feel like we've been here before. I don't know where. I don't remember specific episodes, but I've seen those cliffs before.
No, you can't. They've never used the same cliffs twice in 2 episodes of Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If
That
you
would
say
be
so.
that would be lazy. Just go
Those-
into a convenient group of rocks somewhere near where they film.
Those tree.
Stage
I
10.
again, I know I sound like a crazy person, but I recognize those trees as well. The dead trees.
You're not crazy. They reuse props all
2001:
the time.
Space Odyssey.
I'm sure they've reused this tube thing.
Oh yeah.
It's very fun.
That's an interesting thing you just said. Can cannibalize the power supply from an
Hey, we
alien
use this map.
transceiver to a human transceiver.
An alien transceiver.
Consider-
runs off of the-
Considering the power supplies that we use, where you can't connect a proprietary power supply with other components, I somewhat doubt it. that
You
it
can't
would
even
work.
plug an American power supply into a British wall socket. It'll explode.
Yeah.
Exactly. and
I've done it before. It's fun. Yeah.
But more so even the other way around. It would be
Yeah.
worse the other way around because British power supplies have the protection built into them, whereas American ones don't.
Well, the British ones
Or
run at
something.
a higher voltage.
Yeah,
So when you plug them into the American ones, they just kind of don't
True.
work. Whereas if you plug an American one into an
yeah.
English plug,
It depends where
gets
it depends
double
where the
voltage.
component is designed. For example,
yeah,
the Samsung monitor, the British plug comes with a power supply adapted to it because it then adapts the power to the monitor.
Okay.
Mm.
Whereas the American one just plugs directly into the wall socket.
Which is clever. It's a good way to get around it.
Does anyone know where that cylinder prop is from? It looks TNG-y to me.
I don't know.
I'd have said
I
it
just
looks
said I
more
bet they do.
DS9.
I don't know if it actually is reused or not.
No, I
It
think
does
you're
feel
totally
like
right. It is
DS9 to me.
reused. But I don't know from where. Oh, wait, I found a picture that might be it. Hang on, I need another shot.
You can see the
Come on,
top of
pan the
it.
camera down. I need to see the prop. Okay.
You'll see it when they
The
start
base
carrying.
prop. It looks like the base prop is the transporter test cylinder from TNG. And I recognize it because it's from the episode Ensigns of Command, which I just watched for a video. So,
That's awesome.
but they glued a bunch of stuff to the side.
Keep Bashin, of course.
Because when you glue
And
stuff to the
Revlin.
side, you make it look less futuristic, and therefore it must be from a previous century.
There, I put it in the general chat. What I think the base prop is that they glued stuff to.
Oh yeah, that's
There should
definitely
be
it.
a
Escalator.
website dedicated to compiling all Star Trek props and all
Well,
of their
it's
appearances.
somewhat it. They've cut bits off of it. It's the
I'm surprised that such a thing doesn't exist.
This is not going to go well, Trip.
No,
It's a bad
not.
plan. There we go.
Dun, 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 dun,
I'm
dun,
shocked
dun,
that this
dun,
alien
dun,
will turn
dun,
on him.
dun.
I
It's
think those
Enterprise,
might be the
after all.
same trees used in the Gorn fight, but I don't know if they kept props that long.
No way. They might be inspired by it, but they did not keep props on the original series. It's not possible.
Mhm.
That's why it's a projectile.
Okay, so it
going to
does
make your
spit bad-
eyesight 10 times
Bad
better,
fluids as
Trip.
well. Hey, Kirk Fu. There's a double fist punch in there.
Wow.
One of the things I'm saddest about is Discovery abandoned Kirk Fu.
You mean because
I-
it's not an
I'm always
actual
sad about
fighting technique? I'm surprised. I'm shocked.
Like, even Enterprise has Kirk Fu. Can you believe that? Wow.
Yes, rock. Hit him with the rock. There you go. Good job, Trip.
I do
Hit
like
him
the
again.
TOS
Proud.
episode where they invent gunpowder, though.
That's also the Gorn fight.
Yes.
This Trip suddenly got very tired.
Yeah, they ran out of energy immediately. They were
They're
perfectly
sleepy,
fine, and then
okay?
just crashed.
Well, I mean, that's when the adrenaline starts
Maybe you could
running out.
lay anywhere else.
And now Trip's fine again. Oh, okay.
Maybe not.
Do you know what else you haven't?
No, I saw.
Okay. Trip,
Yes,
gun.
Trip.
I already
the
told
gun
you,
and shoot
Trophy
him.
doesn't approve of guns.
He should approve of guns. You know,
Hey,
it's just
look, it's
lying when
Dawn.
it's just laying on the ground like that. It kind of looks like just an
He's
actual
gonna throw it
gun.
away again.
Yeah, he's gonna throw it in the cliffs or something, but just shoot him.
Throw it
No,
further
he needs him
away.
to carry the.
Can't
He needs him
shoot
to
him, we're
carry
here to make
the
friends.
tech stuff.
Yeah, we'll make friends.
Ooh.
Trip, you disappoint me.
Is Trip a normal nickname for someone who's the third?
Yeah,
I've never
apparently
heard
that
it,
is
but-
normal.
I've also never
Never
met
heard of it
anyone who was the
outside of it.
third.
I think the ones I know are you're chip if you're the second because you're a chip off the old block. Trip if you're the
Really?
third.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Trip if you're the third, because
Quatlu if you're the
triple,
fourth.
and
Oh my god, look at that CGI background.
Yeah, and
Ew.
skip.
Oh.
I think they use
This is what
skip
happens
Skips
when you
generation.
don't
if
hire
you
Matt
have the
Painting.
same name as your granddad, because it's skipped a generation.
I see.
Trip.
We could just
I
call
don't
him
know how I want
Charlie.
to be called Skip. What do you mean the sun's not up? There's things reflecting off of each other.
He said supplemental. That means after the mission is over, and he's doing it right now to the pad at the correct time he's saying it.
Isn't supplemental just a log pertaining to the previous log?
I think it's the
Yes.
latter thing.
Nocto.
Nocto.
He's already figured out 3 words. A
Hoshi's
dozen.
brain is so
Sure,
big.
dozen.
If
Lies
she
instead
was
of
on this
dozen.
planet, she'd just know his language magically.
Yeah, Hoshi. Yeah, that's just how she works. So he knows
She's a
food.
mega mind. I don't know why they don't seem to understand just how incredible her brain is. Like they get that she's smart, but she's not smart. She's the smartest human to have ever existed on the planet. Like
So
people
he
don't
knows the
understand
word
the
for food.
magnitude.
He knows the word for bad,
Shit.
and he knows Zokan's name.
But
I
he
thought he
just
knew
said
the
he
word
learned
for
a dozen
ship.
words.
Yeah, it's a dozer.
Fidoza.
He knows the word ship. as well.
Doza's food, I think. It's either
He
food or
knows the
drink.
word
It's one or the
ship,
other.
though.
Ship.
I'm questioning their decision to sit in the sun.
Yes.
Do you wanna
can
go
sit
to
anywhere
the
else.
other side of
they're
the
just
cliff?
like, yeah, they're just like sitting worried out in the open in the sun. Can you not find shade?
There's a shaded zone like 4 feet to the right.
Yeah, but that
Or to
wouldn't
the-
be
yeah, or to the
perfectly lit
left.
for the
Oh.
cameras.
Or, you could go behind the shuttle.
Well, the shuttle's at ground level.
You can
They
go
had to go
behind
up
it.
high.
Well, you can go behind this mountain.
So you can say they just fell asleep and the sun moved position, but why aren't they moving now? The shade's over there. Now go over there.
Because you totally know what it's made of.
There's probably some drops in there you can replicate or
Mm.
resequence.
No die.
No, that's just gonna hurt your neck.
If he dies, you can eat him guilt free.
If he dies, you can use his corpse as shade.
That too. So many uses.
Cut him open and climb inside.
Maybe if he's overheating, maybe he should get rid of the thick black outfit that he's wearing.
Rick Berman's only willing to go so far. He still
Like, it
has
doesn't
to
need to
wear
be
something for
indecent. Like
TV.
maybe he could be wearing a tank top underneath.
Or he could just be strategically positioned behind a rock with just his legs sticking out. I don't understand why the transporter is capable of killing people who are near death. Why? Not just here, but in various episodes, say oh, I don't think it'd be safe to transport him. He's near death. Does that imply the transporter is in fact not perfectly reassembling?
Yeah.
I mean, it clearly explains that the issue's not transporting him. It's him ending up here.
But
And the
in
temperature
other
difference.
episodes, especially in TNG, Dr. Crusher says this a lot. We can't transport him. It'd be too dangerous.
Eh,
Or we need to transport him immediately because he's too badly wounded to move.
How
So
does this
they're very
work?
inconsistent with that.
I think, and this is a scary theory, I know. I think it's the plot.
Impossible.
Almost like Star Trek has no consistency.
Almost like the writers make up the rules whenever they feel like it suits them.
Without checking. Like a 3-second background check.
Yes.
I get it was a bit more difficult back when you'd have to like actually just rewatch them to find out. But now it's ridiculously easy to just quickly check something on the internet.
Well, they also had like a
translate.
show Bible that like
Yeah,
has all the lore in it.
like,
It's pretty
still would have
detailed stuff.
taken time. Whereas now it won't take very much time at all.
Like obviously there could be mistakes if the Bible isn't written correctly. But
Or if it was
they can't
written
even
for a
keep
specific
consistent to
series.
the book that they have in front of them. It's an issue of caring.
You know, like
Relays are fused? How hot is it? How is he not dead?
Mm.
I think it's pretty cool how Rick Berman and Brandon Braga, they from TNG, DS9, and Voyager, you know, then they got to write the lore for Enterprise. I mean, you know, Michael has pointed out how it's actually a pretty bad move for the producers to make themselves the main writers of the show. That's very valid. But on the other hand, like no one else could really like carry out the show and give us all this great lore to this extent. So it still gave us a good show.
No comment.
like even Trip's name. Nice to have a character named Trip.
Charles. Nobody ever calls him Charles.
That's probably what his mum called him when she was angry.
Charles Tucker III. You come here right now.
Great.
Do we ever meet his mom, or did she die in the Zindi attack? Was she already dead? Who?
His sister dies in the Cindy attack.
Yeah, I can't remember what they say about his parents.
We meet Reed's parents, and we meet Hoshi's parents, and Travis's parents. Archer's parents are dead. We know that.
But do we know that Archer's mum is dead?
Wait, does
I
this mean
think
the
it's
NX-01
implied.
crew has the most intact family of all of the crews?
Yeah.
Don't
maybe.
remind us,
Well,
Trip.
there's a video idea.
Why would you
going-
remind us of that train wreck?
Wait, what did he remind us of? What?
Getting pregnant.
Oh.
No,
Oh.
that episode. Well, that episode's bad, but it's not as bad as the princess
The
episode.
princess episode.
Princess episode is one of the worst episodes in the show. Why would they call back to it?
Is that the one
Because
immediately
they thought it
before
was a
this one?
great episode because they wrote it.
It was terrible.
Yeah, but they
We
sure
wrote
the
just
it,
ratings
so I
were
think it's
awful.
Brilliant.
Maybe the ratings were good actually, because A Night in Sickbay actually got really good ratings. Had the highest ratings of season 2, if I remember correctly.
So
The
this is
highest rating
another chat
season
support that they've
2.
left somewhere and lost.
Look, Rick Berman, Brandon Braga, they did the best they could, and they wrote the best episode of Enterprise
Okay.
season
The
2.
breast episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't you
did the
remember A
best they
Night
can.
in Sickbay?
I swear I've seen the Arconian ship somewhere else.
The big
certainly.
one or the shuttle?
The big one.
The big one.
Well, the advantage of Enterprise CGI is it's probably pretty easy for them to not reuse ship models.
I mean, I feel it looks familiar. Maybe something out of DS9 or
Looks familiar to me too.
Voyager.
These
fair,
aliens. Good.
It's got a vaguely Cardassian style.
I was thinking it looks a little Vulcan with the way it looks kind of bulbous.
They do look like iguanas.
I think they are basically if the dinosaurs had never died out.
Well, we found out what happens if the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
never died
we did.
out.
I was
Yeah,
about
to be
to
fair,
get
we've
to-
already
That's canon.
Okay, so this is the first time we see this model according to Memory Alpha, but it will be reused as a Xindi Arboreal ship, and it will be
Right, that's
reused
it,
as a
yes.
Tellurite cruiser.
That's it,
Really?
yes.
But this is the first time we see it.
That's
Oh,
sad.
I like that meme just posted. And I've just drawn it in full now.
I need to see this.
If you guys would also like to see the nice meme, you can join the Discord and go to the channel Nice Meme.
That is a
I
really, really
like
good
that
meme.
one. It's
There's a link to Discord in the
fantastic.
description with the memes.
That's a good one.
That's the best one.
Oh, that frame is from Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Deleted scenes, I think.
That's not deleted. That scene is definitely in the movie.
That is really funny.
There was different versions of Terminator 2. Michael, like a surprising number of versions.
Yeah, but the nuclear
They had
the
several
nuclear
edits.
Holocaust dream is like one of the most iconic scenes from T2. It was definitely
Yeah.
there.
So I guess okay. I know they had a deleted like after scene where like it's the future and Judgment Day never happened and it's her with an old John Connor like with
Yeah.
kids.
They went with a better ending, in my opinion. But yeah, I saw
You
that
know what would
movie
have been
the
a
first
better
time.
ending? Is that never made another Terminator movie after Terminator 2. That would have been the best ending.
All right, so that's that episode. They made some new friends. They almost died again.
Can you believe it?
Well, that's cool. They met new life and a new civilization.
Would you say that they boldly went somewhere?
Well, they kind of accidentally went somewhere.
Accidentally went somewhere.
But no man has
accidentally
gone there
go.
before.
Yeah. Well, no one had gone there
I
before
just-
and survived to tell anyone about it.
I just said
It's
that
unclear
meme
if a woman
about
had
the
been there
fire.
before, but certainly no man. Anyway, the next episode is Stigma, which is the HIV episode.
Yes.
We love the
Everyone feels bad.
2002, 2003
3, 4, somewhere
AIDS
around there.
metaphor. A little
Yeah.
bit
They
dated.
did want to make it a TNG episode, but they weren't allowed by one person in particular.
Well, it was going to be a different AIDS episode. It was not going to be this AIDS episode.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be the same thing, but they
They
did
just
want
wanted to
make
do an
episode
AIDS
in it.
episode.
But they didn't. They. Yeah.
I believe they were
for-
even going to do a like proto-AIDS episode in the original series, if I remember right.
Whoa.
Like obviously AIDS wasn't a thing yet. But like they had a suspiciously similar idea. Maybe the creators of Star Trek
Gene
created
Roddenberry
AIDS as an
created
inside
AIDS?
job.
What?
Yes,
To be
maybe.
fair, I think that would have been
I mean,
slightly
considering-
interesting to
Would
see.
you
Hang on,
would you
hang
be
on. Everybody go ahead and
surprised
press
if
play
he
in
created
5,
AIDS?
4,
I'll try
3,
to find it. In
2,
a sec. I'll be right back.
1, play.
play?
Well,
Goodbye,
fun
everyone.
fact:
I'm heading out.
Dr. Anthony Fauci was the lead researcher for the NIH that led to the first breakthrough in the AIDS.
Yeah, I've seen that in a bunch of conspiracy theory things about him. Because actually, he's been involved in a lot of like major. Because he was involved in lots of the SARS research around 2000, 2001 as well. And there's that comes up in a lot of the conspiracy theory nut job things about.
How
you know,
dare he
obviously
be a
he's-
medical researcher?
yeah,
exactly.
shocking,
Yeah.
shocking revelation. Epidemiologist is involved with epidemics.
Epidemic
Our
research.
Our lead viral researcher was the lead researcher in
So-
defeating
Yeah,
the most
It doesn't
latest
sound like
virus.
Prox is
The
actually there.
USA's top expert on viruses has been working with viruses like his entire career.
That's impossible.
Also,
Is everyone
to the
up to date
British
on your
people
Fauci
here-
ouchies?
To the British people
Ouchie,
here, I'm sorry I'm
ouchies.
leaving you so outnumbered now. But yeah, I'm heading off. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That didn't sound like Phlox. That sounded like Phlox had been ADRs at the start of the episode there.
It's possible.
I couldn't hear him over the Fauci, and I don't have subtitles, so.
And now everybody's
There's no
being
idea.
quiet on the theme music. What the heck, guys?
It's so good.
Priorities.
I saw a cartoon where aliens land and they say, "Take me to your leader," and the farmer in the farmland says, "Sorry, Dr. Fauci is busy."
Probably very busy these days. Got a lot to do.
No, but I mean, it's incredible.
Isn't it-
In the early '90s, the breakthrough he made against the virus, which
Turned.
is yeah.
Apparently,
So-
Rick said no to the TNG AIDS episode.
Did
What is
the
that?
Kind of
It
Wikipedia.
was their lawyer that said no to having an episode on AIDS.
The script was
um,
commissioned and written, but never was filmed. According to Gerald, some of the production staff, including Rick Berman, had a negative reaction to its positive depiction of an openly gay couple.
Thanks, Rick.
Yes.
well,
This is what Rick has
okay.
taken from us.
So, how did the Phoenix work if it didn't have a deflector screen?
It worked very well. Thanks for asking. Anyway,
It got lucky.
Oh, this is the episode with the subplot about
Ooh,
Fox
having a
Feasel.
relationship with her.
Yet another
Tucker-
The B
subplot.
plot
Again.
in which Rick is very uncomfortable.
Wasn't Rick Berman the one who also objected to the episode with the androgynous alien that Greg
First
fell in
Contact.
love with?
I'm sure he objected.
No, not
to
First
it.
Contact.
Probably.
I'm sure he objected. I don't remember what the episode's
objected,
called,
yes.
but I know the one you're talking about. I'm sure he
specifically-
objected.
Texas.
Frakes
Specifically
wanted the actor to
Jonathan
be played
Frakes.
by a man. To be a man.
Yes.
Yeah,
wanted
Jonathan
it to be
Frakes
played by a
wanted the
man.
genderless alien to be played by a man.
But Rick
But
Berman, I think, said no. 'cause
Someone
Rick
else
Berman-
wanted it to be played by a woman.
Rick.
I don't know.
Berman.
Let me look it up. What's it called?
The Outcast, I believe.
Yes.
Producer Dawn Velasquez. Dawn.
Background information.
Oh, she just has a
Oh, that
little bit
smile.
of that smile. It doesn't go all the way, but a
Ugh.
little bit.
I think maybe they learned their lesson the first time they did it.
Yeah,
they went a little
apparently
too
this
far.
episode
That a little
was
too
Learned the
meant
good.
lesson that
to-
it was amazing.
Yeah.
What was this episode meant to what?
The
This
episode
is a
was
full
meant to
CG scene with full CG characters
talk about
walking around the place.
homosexuality, but I don't
But
think it
Rick-
really does that.
Yeah, the
In fact,
CGI
wow,
those
people
CG
always
people
look
are so
weird.
bad.
Jerry Taylor
I mean-
volunteered.
I
It
also
doesn't say
this-
anything about Rick on Memory Alpha.
This is released 10 years before proper crowd
no.
simulation in games and things.
Written by
if
Rick
you,
Berman
if
and
you
Brandon
watch
Braga.
the 4K versions of Lord of the Rings, or even like the
have a
1080p, but
Rick
especially
quote.
the 4K, like when they're running from the Balrog, the scenes on the thin bridges, those are all CG people, and they look so bad in 4K. It's awful.
Yeah, I was so disappointed when I got the 4K version of the Lord of the Rings, and it just looks so bad. In some spots, other spots it looks amazing.
All the
but, like,
practical stuff, yeah, looks amazing. Oh my god. Who the heck is that? Is that Frodo? Doesn't look like Frodo.
So-
looks like a stick with a brown tip.
Rick Berman says that he tried not to let perceptions of what the public would find acceptable influence us too much, and the choice of Riker's opposite, aiding, but having Riker engaged in passionate kisses with a male actor might have been a little unpalatable to viewers. That's what Rick says.
So Rick is passing the
and
buck
then
to the
Jonathan
audience.
Frakes
I-
says,
it's not that I didn't like.
I didn't think that they were gutsy enough to take it where they should have. Soren should have been more obviously male. We've gotten a lot of male in this episode, but I'm not sure it was as good as it could have been. That's what Jonathan Frakes has to say about it.
I think
And then the person who plays Soren later played Kretak in DS9.
not Soren, but the elder Janai was Kretak.
Oh, right, the Romulan senator.
Yeah, the one who actually sent
Yeah,
his sword
the
into conversion
deputy.
therapy.
Right. Okay.
That's literally just a normal microscope with added things to it.
What do you mean?
I don't think there's any microscope in
fancy.
there, dude.
There we go. We've added the space part.
That's
It
how
has an
microscopes
emitter
work.
frequency and everything.
You swap out the
Ooh.
lens for like 100x.
I really would have liked if they redid the CG for Lord of the Rings. I'm not a purist.
For what?
I'm perfectly happy for them to redo some stuff that just looks bad.
Yeah, they should have redone it.
SpaceX.
If it doesn't look good, they should absolutely redo it. They definitely have the
Ooh.
money for Lord of the Rings.
This is not very subtle.
Who, Feasel?
She just said insert the thick end into the opening.
Yeah, she's also touching him.
There is
With her
no
whole
personal
body.
It's
space
very
there.
inappropriate.
This is a hostile work environment.
Definitely.
Workplace sexual harassment, Feasel.
Clearly not a thing on Denobula.
But it's okay if it's a woman doing the harassing. It's only creepy if it's a man.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. That's 100% correct. Oh man, and if you're like, if this is actually happening to you, and so if you're working somewhere, especially if the person is like an equal level or above you, and she hits on you or does something, and you like flat out reject her, oh, she's gonna make your life a living hell.
I mean, that tends to happen no matter who is making the advances and who is rejecting them. Doesn't have to be a woman. If somebody
just-
doesn't know boundaries,
it's-
they're going to get mad.
That's
But
probably
the
true.
point is, Feasel should definitely just leave him alone, because I don't think Tripp is showing any interest. He wants her to leave him alone.
I guess
Just
my
like, go
point
away.
is
Trip is
I have
not being a slut.
particular experience with it,
He's a
Michael. and
perfect
I have it only
gentleman.
in the one direction, so I wouldn't know the other way. Although I have had guys hit on me, and yeah, it's flattering, but
Well,
not interested.
who doesn't
Okay,
like
so
a guy
this-
with a 3D printer?
Mr. Head Vulcan here. Who is he?
Head doctor.
Soval.
He is. He's
Oh,
from the
yeah,
episode First
he's-
Contact. He was the security
Yeah, he was
minister.
he's the crazy conservative guy. He also played something else, and I can't remember what.
What's
I
his
don't think it
name?
was Star
Who
Trek,
is he?
though.
Oh, I'm sure he's been in a lot of stuff. Memory Alpha. What's that? Stigma? Who is this dude? Orat? Is it Orat? Yeah, that's Orat. Played by Michael Ensign. That sounds more familiar. He was
Why
a
doesn't
Vulcan
T'Pol get a cool
ambassador
outfit
in
like that Vulcan?
DS9. And he was also the Voyager episode with the Ferengi, who were like made a false religion. He was the crazy bard man. He kept yelling the song, the poem. He was also in Ghostbusters.
It's
Oh
interesting
yeah,
that they chose
Ghostbusters
to-
is what I was thinking of.
It's interesting that they
he
chose to
was-
make the mind meld illegal.
He was the concierge at the hotel.
Right.
This is the part that doesn't make sense. When in the episode where the dreamy, creepy guy mind melds with her, she doesn't even know what a mind meld is. But in this episode, she knows that it's outlawed.
Mm. And that knowledge seems perfectly normal.
Right.
Oh,
Lack of continuity in my Star Trek.
Right.
Never.
it's very likely.
How could this be?
But I guess they realized that they should have done this episode a decade ago, and they decided, well, better late than never.
It's just weird. Like even in 2002 or whenever this show is aired, the only sympathy that they can come up with for people with AIDS is like, oh, someone was raped by someone with AIDS. It's really not their fault, is it? Like
That's, mm.
it's just kind of
Well, the
lame, you know?
No, the idea. Okay,
It's like, look at this innocent person who got AIDS innocently without like willingly being a homosexual or whatever.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
see, the thing is though,
And this is 2002.
without invalidating your criticism, the point is though that's how history unfolded. Like people really did think that AIDS was exclusively a gay disease until Arthur Ashe and Magic Johnson and people
What
died
made
from
him
blood
so magic?
transfusions. You know,
They
people died
came-
from blood transfusions also. So
They
it
came
wasn't
to
like
examine T'Pol, not to tell him no.
so
Obviously.
Maybe Star Trek should have.
social stigma only like became overcome when, well, first of all, there was a stigma on a activity, and then people blamed the disease on the activity.
Oh, reused props. I love reused props. Take a look at those reused props.
And we're still there. We're only in this position because T'Pol wasn't in this situation willingly, right?
There.
Yeah.
So does the
Why
Vulcan
does
science
Vulcan
director not
DNA
believe in
have
medical
a-
ethics?
But
Have a hexagonal tessellated structure.
Don't worry
it
about
highlights
it.
the
It looks nice.
it highlights the ignorance of a society, and I feel like in that
Like, it would have been
it's a positive show.
It would have been
episode.
so much better if T'Pol was a willing participant in the mind meld.
Yeah.
Well, she was at
Mhm.
first, and then he was like, "I'm gonna make you
He got weird
They
about it.
feel
Let's leave it at that.
uncomfortable."
They could have
There's also
kept
just
the
such an
continuity
uncomfortable
of
scene
her-
in the last episode.
No,
they
but
could have
okay,
kept
Very
the
gratuitous.
continuity of her not understanding as well. They could, if she didn't realize that the mind meld would cause the disease, didn't understand that the disease she currently has came from the mind meld.
right.
That could have
Oh.
they could have stuck with that.
Oh, she knew.
Hmm.
She knew.
What? What? She did not know she was going to get a disease from him invading her mind.
She knew. She knew where the disease came from.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in theory,
She knew
they
it was
could have-
possible to get one. She didn't
In
know
that
she would.
episode, she didn't know where it
She
came from,
didn't
but in
know
this
that was
episode,
She
she
didn't know
always
what a
knew
vine
where
meld-
it came from.
Mm.
Right.
It's unclear.
Well,
The point is, this episode tries some good social messaging, but it sort of falls short at the end.
Yeah.
Also, something we forget because we're all young. Yes, obviously AIDS is caused by a virus, but like at the beginning, we didn't know that. So we didn't know if it was like an autoimmune disease or a chronic condition or transmitted through bacteria or whatnot, and it took us quite a while to figure out, okay, this is a virus spread by bodily fluids. But at the time, we didn't know if you could get it from sharing a glass of water from someone.
Which
Yeah,
actually
we
lifted
didn't-
a lot of the stigma once they realized it was predominant in gay communities, unfortunately.
Right.
And I
So
feel like that
I just
feeds
wish
into
that
this
in the year
episode.
of our Lord 2002, that Star Trek could have, had empathy for just normal people with AIDS instead
They're
of people
trying.
So, as probably one of the
who
only
got
people,
AIDS.
or
Like,
one of the only people on this call who may have been alive during the Reagan administration, I'm not sure
Why are
how
you so
old
old?
the rest of you are, but I'm pretty old, and I do remember how it was around then, and it was very unclear as to what was going on. But that's not because we were so confused by the virus that we didn't know what to do. It was because the Reagan administration refused to do a damn thing about it.
yeah, they left us to die. They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. There was something killing a group of people that they didn't like, so which is absolutely represented in this episode.
Right. The government was complicit in
Yeah,
the cover
and
up.
even in this
Yeah.
episode, they only care when it affects the fantasy straight to Paul.
Right.
Hmm.
Or quote unquote innocent.
Yeah. Also, I just don't like the last episode. It's so uncomfortable.
By the last episode, do you mean
The one that this one's a sequel to. I don't remember what the
okay.
name of it.
So,
It's like a constant thing with this character. She's constantly
Phlox is doing
Like-
pretty good though. He's doing his best, trying to do his best by T'Pol.
Like, not to mention
He's the
there's
only
people who
ethical
still-
doctor on the show.
who still have conspiracy theories about AIDS that like
Mm.
you know, there's a cure, or rich people can afford to buy the cure, and the government made it, so it's misconceptions still abound.
I bet
Yeah,
Fauci
I mean, there
could.
was a group that seduced the Foo Fighters and turned them into anti-AIDS advocates in the sense that they denied that it was a real thing.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
the woman who actually headed up that whole group said that she had been living with AIDS living with HIV without a treatment for decades or something like that. And meanwhile, she died, and so did her child.
Okay. I mean, I kind of want to say, oh, let's get back to the episode and back to the lighthearted commentary, but that doesn't really exist for this episode.
Mm.
Yeah, no,
Yep,
I mean,
but
This
Also it's
episode's
fine, though.
all just bigotry and
Yeah.
The acting is good.
misconceptions.
yeah, no, the bigotry though for AIDS was that there was a belief that it wasn't caused by a virus, but the activity of like anal sex, and
Oh my
People
god,
are-
and here it's literally caused by the activity.
right,
Lamau.
Yeah.
right.
Good one, Rick. I didn't even think of that.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, again,
Here-
that
Here's something more
suited the-
lighthearted. Archer's pips are out of alignment.
It's not just.
They're not in
it's
a
not
straight
just
line.
cause. Look,
There's an
It's not
episode
just
of
cause-
TNG where Picard has 3 pips. It drives me
3
nuts.
no.
Yeah.
Are they at
It's
least
not
in a
just.
straight
It's
line?
not
Yeah.
just.
A straight line
Oh.
in this episode.
It's not just the act that causes it. It's doing the act wrong that causes it.
Yeah, it's real bad.
Mm.
It's not just. It's not just the mind meld. It's
I mean,
being
to the
bad at
episode's
the
credit,
mind
they
meld.
are portraying these Vulcans as idiots.
Yeah.
Imagine if
and
you could get
awful
sick
people.
if you had sex, if you were bad at sex. You have made someone
No,
else sick.
no, that's entirely accurate, because having sex in the wrong way, i.e., 2 men, is what causes HIV. Therefore, it's entirely in line with this
Credit
analogy.
to innocent
I'm going
straight
to
women
announce
like
to everyone
Picard.
that I'm about to slap him for saying the wrong way.
That's
Oh.
the joke. That's the competition.
Thank
Okay. That works.
I think you'll need to. Oh, never mind.
But like,
An
On the verge of
undesirable
making it
segment of
weird.
the population, they say.
yeah, they don't even talk about them.
Is there any way to mind meld safely?
Well, clearly, because they eventually work it out, don't they?
I'm
Pretty
about
safe
to.
in other shows.
Can you imagine if Spock had been doing his mind melds wearing like rubber gloves every time?
Didn't he do it with some ridiculous gloves one time, or was that when he tried to mind meld the Rock? Remember
With
when he mind
V'ger,
melded
he
the
had
Rock?
very
Yeah.
big gloves.
He has to take off the glove.
He mind melds with V'ger with the gloves on.
Mm.
How are these people? Are they implying that telepathic ability is something you can scan for?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was
'Cause
the
if they can do
implication.
that,
genetic
then they can-
precognition.
I think they can
Then
tell.
surely
they
they
can
would
tell
know
by
that
your
literally
DNA
every
if you
Vulcan
have
is
the
capable of
ability.
it.
This is canon.
Hang on. I've got a
Oh my
question.
god, is DePaul wearing a real outfit? Oh my god.
Yeah, she's wearing Vulcan
What are
outfit.
you
Is
wearing,
it
Jamal?
logical to be
Oh my God.
prejudiced against mind meld?
Why
Well,
can't
you
she
know
wear
what?
this all the time?
Moon, if it helps, just know that underneath that outfit, she is naked.
Now it's gone.
Well, she had to get
Was
back
it
Well,
into
on
for
her
a good-
skin,
For
For a
skin
good 30
tight.
seconds, she had real clothing.
But underneath.
She had well, she had real clothing in the pilot. Remember, she was wearing that robe thing in the pilot.
Yeah, why didn't she
at the
keep that
beginning.
robe? That robe was awesome. It
I
looks
mean, it's
so
not
good on
really,
her.
it's not really practical, but
It's not
No.
really
Neither
is this
sexy,
thing.
so Rick Berman didn't like it.
Look,
This thing is as impractical as they come.
I mean,
I just imagine
they put her
Go
in a
ahead.
Starfleet uniform in one of the episodes coming up because she
Yeah,
takes over
and
the
then-
command of the ship, and she looks
then she-
fine.
And then
looks
she
better.
joins
Well, yeah,
Starfleet in
but
the
does she
real
look
timeline, and she doesn't
fine?
get a uniform.
She does. She literally looks better. She looks
mean, it's
more
the same
attractive
thing-
in the uniform. I do
Same
not
thing with
understand.
Seven. When they put Seven
It's
in
like-
the normal Starfleet uniform, it's
Yes,
great.
she also looks more attractive in the uniform.
Yeah.
As does
So
Kira.
dumb.
So I just imagine that at some point, Rick Berman calls Jolene into his office. He's like, I want to discuss your new uniform with you. I'd like to introduce you to our body paint artist.
Oh no.
In 7 of 9, they
Poor
at least had
Jolene.
the excuse of she wasn't part of Starfleet, she was just there. Whereas
Well,
T'Pol in season 4 actually joined Starfleet, and she still doesn't.
In
get
season
one.
3, she is
she gets
is
that red
constructed.
jumpsuit that's a little less
Yeah.
sexy, you know?
Deanna Troy.
She gets the Andorian paste
Mm.
outfit too, which is awful.
Oh, but
Well,
but
do you know what
Troy
they-
had to wear something else just because she's, the counselor, and she has to be
So-
threatening or something.
The costumers
changes
on
into the
Next
uniform
Generation
for the last
thought that
2
her
seasons.
hips were too big for a uniform, so that's why they gave her that
Hmm.
jumpsuit thing. And then, and
What?
then
Have they
and there
heard
was
of a
the episode with
tailor?
Jellicoe. They put her in a leftover uniform from another episode, and they're like, "Oh, it looks great! It wasn't even for her, and they just have her in that." And that's what they did.
Mm.
Thanks, Rick.
So it turns out that there's a lot of people part of this minority.
It's
Mm.
it's almost
It
like
turns out literally every
almost like
Vulcan in
1 in
existence is
10.
part of that minority.
Yeah.
Because the minority is just people capable of mind melding, and that's all of them.
Mm.
I will be
Yeah.
right back. I'm about to go commit an intimate act with Taco Bell.
Oh. Careful you don't get any disease. Well, I mean, it's Taco Bell. You're going to get a
It's
disease.
Taco Bell
You
is
don't
the
get
disease.
diseases from Taco Bell.
Taco Bell is the disease, Ryan.
Now,
I don't know.
here's a question about Taco Bell, though. Is it Taco Bell or is it Taco Bell?
Honestly, Taco Bell
Taco
seems like
Bell.
a great place
Taco
to get a
Bell.
disease.
Taco Bell is the only restaurant to survive the great restaurant wars of 2004 or whatever.
Yeah.
That movie is so bad.
You know-
I love it.
You know,
I don't like that
in
movie.
the UK,
Pizza
it was Pizza Hut.
movie.
They ADR'd it into
Mm.
Pizza Hut because at the time the UK didn't have Taco Bell, so they're like, well, you can't
Well,
have
they're
it be a
about
restaurant
to.
they've never heard of. Apparently, I think they have Taco Bell now, don't they?
Yeah, the first few have just like there's one in my hometown. There's one in the city near us.
And have
now.
you gone?
Oh no, fuck no.
Why not?
All right, I'm gonna run for the border. I'll be right
It's
back.
so good.
Have fun.
I like my lower
is good.
intestine.
Well,
Well,
if
you
you
should-
like
what
it,
has
you
your
should
lower
cleanse it
intestine
once in a
ever done for
while.
you?
So now you eat Taco Bell and it's like a whole new colon. It's just it's fantastic. It's the most delicious colon cleanse you've ever
I've
had.
never had any kind of reaction to Taco Bell. It's
Well,
perfectly
perhaps you
fine.
don't have 18 hot sauces with every order like I do.
One fire sauce per taco.
I
Oh,
put
no. Maybe
one
harassed
sauce
more.
packet per
I
bite.
like her outfit though.
Per bite.
Pretty
And
cool.
then
Diesel's outfit.
my friend sent me this hot sauce called Extreme Regret,
Oh god.
and I've been putting that on top. So
British military rations now come with hot diggity dog hot sauce,
Oh,
which is I don't get because
Beazle.
it used to be
Beazle, put her
Tabasco.
shoes on.
Right.
whoa.
It used to be
Whoa.
Tabasco, and everyone loved Tabasco, and now
She's
it's
pulling your leg.
Yeah,
No,
she's
she's doing more than that.
And now it's
I don't like her.
sriracha.
Oh,
No, I'm not into. I'm more into Tapatio.
Ugh.
Well, you don't like
See, I'm-
Tapatio,
I'm-
or you don't like her foot.
I mean, her foot is lewd. Oh wait, wrong server.
Also, Tucker, you've heard about denobulan relationships before. You know about the
Yes.
polyamory
Mm.
bit.
Rip's mind is tiny.
in fact, they mentioned
he
it multiple
doesn't
times in this
remember-
very episode.
He doesn't remember very many things.
Bye.
Wow.
That was very.
Don't stare at him as he
Very
walks
sweet.
away, Fiesel.
The angry exercise room where they exercise
Jesus.
angrily.
Oh, that confused me. Why would you do this to me, director? Wait, who's directing?
That mirror
Who-
is so weird.
Who made that mirror
They have
shot?
lots of angry exercising scenes in Enterprise. This isn't one of them, but there are
Actually,
more than
yeah.
one.
Now I'm really... Who did direct this episode? David Livingston. Written by Rick
Who's
Berman
that?
and Brandon Braga.
You can tell.
David Livingston
Gosh,
has done a
I
Really
ton
don't
of
understand the
stuff.
Sandler.
conflict here. He's literally said, this is how it works. We have polyamory.
3 husbands, 3 wives, but maybe she already has 3 husbands.
Damn. Outrageous.
The Vulcan science... You have that much faith in the Vulcan science director at Phlox, really?
I don't believe in time
Do you know
travel.
the Science Vulcan Directorate doesn't
Despite
think that
it
not
being,
fair?
Yes.
Very
No, the
possible.
Vulcan Science Directorate hasn't made progress. Has the Science Vulcan Directorate made any progress?
No, they're not fair.
I'm glad we had that joke a solid 3 times in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want Taco Bell.
Come on, Paul. You can trust Archer not to tilt anyone anything.
Maybe you should pause the stream and get some.
I'm not gonna... No, they...
You're considering it.
So this is like the 4th time
Taco Bell's
T'Pol
delicious,
gets
but
recalled,
it's
right?
also...
Because they're like,
Never
they
had
want
it.
you back. They want
It's
you
not
back.
really good. It'll take a couple days off your life for each taco you eat, but it's delicious.
Seems like a fair trade.
One time they had what they called a naked chicken chalupa, which was just fried chicken in the shape of a taco shell that they loaded with more meat and cheese.
Oh god, that's horrifying.
And they like put this ranch peppercorn sauce in it. It was so good. It was incredibly unhealthy, but it was amazing.
Bevan, what message are you actually trying to send here?
That American food is bad.
No, you can't say just American food is bad based on fast food. We have more than Taco Bell.
I'm
Good
talking about this
American food
message
out there.
specifically.
Oh, this is this is typical Star Trek, you know, to like Captain Archer. He's saying the needs of the T'Pol outweigh the needs of the many, and T'Pol is saying the needs of the many outweigh the needs of T'Pol.
But here, the needs of the T'Pol do actually line up with the needs of the many, which is Vulcans need to stop being bigots.
So, Mr. Crayola, how do you British survive
Except-
if all you consume is tea and crumpets?
Very well, thank you.
Okay.
I mean,
I
you've
mean-
left out, some British staples like bangers, mash.
It is pretty crazy though
People
as a
dunk on
society.
British food,
like-
but I don't think it's bad.
When AIDS was a gay disease, it was like very not important. But then, like I said, celebrities like Arthur Ashe, who was a tennis player, but also once like heterosexual sex could also be implicated in it. Rappers like Eazy-E from NWA died. Then it became like a red. Like I read that the Oscars, the red ribbon is famous as a symbol for AIDS, but they only wore the red ribbon at the Oscars, Hollywood, in 92 or 93, and that's after 3 waves of epidemics that already killed gay men, mostly in the U.S.
God.
So fucked up.
Yeah. But T'Pol is instrumental in changing the closed-minded
At least
attitude
T'Pol
of
does the right thing.
society.
I feel like we should accuse Dr. Orat of ethical misconduct.
Mm.
I don't know why we're accusing T'Pol. Let's accuse him. He's the worst. Does he ever not play a villain?
Maybe they should apologize to her.
I like that line.
I really like that they made the Vulcans into assholes in Enterprise. I think that was a
Yeah.
really good change.
It is. Thank you, Rick Berman.
I mean, they had to find a
have
way
you
to
ever
make
been
it
around someone who
Unironically,
says,
thank you, Rick
"Oh, I'm
Berman,"
just being
in
logical"?
this instance.
It's never when they say something nice, is it?
Mm. They hide behind
What
logic as a
happens-
form of arseholery.
Well, like, that's what they naturally are. It's just the humans who are moderate enough to balance out the aggressive Andorians and the Tellarites.
Mm. I do think the true meaning of Enterprise is that no matter what species you are, everyone's a dick.
That is a good
Okay.
moral of Enterprise. I love
I
it.
think.
Yeah.
I feel like this scene implies that Travis is a bit of an idiot because who plays monkey in the middle with a cow? I
And a
feel like
melon.
that's either going to be extremely boring and the cow doesn't care, or it kills you. With no middle ground.
But I mean, Flox's point is that the latter.
What's wrong with you, Travis? Do you also have a stigmatized disease, Mr. Tucker?
Yes, it's called Women Are Attracted to Him.
Fox, can you tell your wife to stop harassing me?
Are Fiesel's other husbands also named Phlox? Are they all Phlox? Yeah, she's sure remarkable, Phlox.
I know, is Fox going to harass them too?
Probably. Phlox is a
He's a
very
perfect
open
gentleman.
man.
Yeah.
A rose petal bath?
What?
This is strange that this.
Wait, like even from a real. What's
He
the point of
sounds
the
like
rose
the
petals? What do those
Thermites
do
from
for you?
Galaxy Quest.
Wait, I forgot about this part. Why is wife swapping in the same episode as the?
Because this is a Rick Berman's Wild Ride episode.
This is Rick Berman does all of the bigotry.
Okay. Swingers equals
HIV, yeah.
right. Philadelphia meets all that. Okay.
This is a scene that Gene Roddenberry would be proud of.
Gene Roddenberry would absolutely adore this. He would love this episode. This
He
this
would.
could be a Gene episode.
I think this would have been an
Like,
excellent episode.
If Gene knew about AIDS, he'd be all over this episode.
I mean,
He would 100% write this.
Well, of
Was
course,
it
we already
confirmed that
established that
he-
he invented it.
Odo.
yeah.
Odo.
I think it would have been an amazing episode in the original series before AIDS happened. That would have been amazing.
I'm glad though, because like when we see Odo and the female founder suffering from the plague, it's a lot to go through. I'm glad we don't see T'Pol like shivering and dying here.
Mm.
You know, I never
Um,
understood why we call the female changeling female, because she's not. She's just
She's
there.
listed
she's a
as
blob.
the female changeling in the credits. I don't think she's ever actually called that.
No, that's the point I
Yeah.
wanted to make. I rewatched The Search recently, and they explicitly call her the female in that
They do?
episode.
That was weird.
Well, she
But she's
presents
not
as
female.
and
She's just
how-
a blob.
That's weird.
Presenting as female. She presents as female, and that's what matters.
That's weird.
The change.
I say no to changeling genders. I refuse.
Something else
Doesn't work.
I recently read because again I was like hardly a newborn.
What did you people?
You are hardly a
I hate it when they do
newborn.
this.
When the
You're-
AIDS epidemic was becoming
Look
You're
at
hardly a newborn now.
true. But
Like as old as you.
I recently
Robo.
read though, like nurses who had to be caregivers for people dying of AIDS. It was very difficult because you have diarrhea like multiple times. So basically, like it's a terrible, awful death, you know. And you can only imagine how awful the hospitals were in the early days. And also like your lover, if he or she was dying, you being the caregiver in that sense. It's a terrible disease, and we lose sight of it because we have treatments for it. But I'm glad we have made a lot of headway against viruses and treatment.
So going back to the subject of shapeshifter gender for a bit, I think it's complicated by the fact that the founder doesn't really see herself as an individual. She's just part of a collective. She's like a
They could
weird
have done
liquid Borg.
I think they kind of missed out on some really good sort of trans analogies there. I mean, that wasn't really that big of a social issue at the time,
Which
so of course
episode?
they didn't do it. But yeah, they could have made some really good trans analogies with the changelings.
I'd rather they just not have gender.
Yeah.
But then if we
Even
say
then.
changelings
Like,
can't
it'd be
have
kind of
gender,
stupid for them to
we're
have
gonna
gender.
we're gonna have to have a whole episode where Riker falls in love with one of them, who declares that they have decided for themselves that they want a gender, which is fine.
So, T'Pol was about to be ejected from the Vulcan fleet, but this guy comes out as a mind melder, and
There's
he
an
saves her career.
episode where Odo cheats on Kira with that shapeshifter Loss.
He cheats on Kira with Loss. He cheats on Kira with the female shapeshifter,
Space
whatever her
Hitler.
name is.
Mm.
And Kira's not very mad about it.
No, she's furious.
Doesn't she cheat on Kira
season
kind of with
7
Loxana
Kira is
Troy?
very
Wait, is the
muted.
female shapeshifter, again, the name is what they say in the show, is the female shapeshifter, is she Space Hitler or is she Space Stalin?
That's a good question. Let's
That is
think
the
about
dumbest
that.
question I have ever heard in my life.
Because I feel like
I
Golden
think
Todd
she-
is Hitler.
Yeah, she's not Hitler because she doesn't want to wipe out people who aren't like her. She wants to.
She wants to control
Subjugate
people
them.
so that
She's
'cause
Stalin.
she wants total
Yeah.
control and she's willing to kill specific
God.
people to acquire that goal.
That's Stalin. That's not Hitler.
Yeah. She thinks the Alpha Quadrant is Eastern Europe.
Oh my god. No,
All right, here we
Notice
go.
how
Get
many
that
random-
extreme regret on my nachos.
Okay.
No more stigma.
Here we go.
So
more
trips,
stigma,
trip
'cause-
pips are all lined up properly.
It's a very odd form of kiss.
Intimate smelling.
Mm.
Woo!
Had a double
Leave him
entendre.
alone, Fiesel. He
Mhm.
doesn't like you.
Well, it's funny because in the Bible, he knew her is a reference to sex.
Commander Tucker, there seems to be something wrong with the microscope. Would you take a look? And he looks inside the microscope. It's just her nudes.
Archer brooding out of
We
the
made
window.
him very uncomfortable. Very funny.
Just leave Tucker alone. He just wants to work on his engine. Don't harass the engineer.
You know, during the McCarthy era, there was a stigma
Oh,
not
God.
only against communists, supposedly alleged communists in Hollywood and other places, but also
And
gay
real
Lucille Ball.
communists.
Lucille Ball.
actors. Right.
The reason why
And
we have
real
Star Trek.
communists.
Because her father was a communist, and when she was filling out some paperwork, she checked communist, and she
And
got in
so-
trouble.
So,
Are
but the
Jolene's
thing is that-
eyebrows painted on?
I
Yes.
hate to tell you this, Ryan, but generally
Nobody knows.
women's eyebrows are artificially enhanced.
That depends
One
on
way or
what kind
another.
of women you hang out with.
So the reason, though, that communists and gay men were under the same microscope during the McCarthy era is because they both kind of involved being a little bit secret. Like, hey, do you want to organize that revolution
I'm open
later?
up.
Hey,
I'm
do you
open
want
up.
to
In the context of actresses on the screen, I think it's pretty much guaranteed that they have some type of makeup in their eyebrows.
I'm not talking about like just she
The men,
painted
too.
in to fill in some
Everyone's
gaps,
covered in makeup on TV.
or
Yeah, you have
I'm not
to-
talking about
for a
enhancement.
start,
I'm
you have
talking
to
about like does
mattify
she
the face
physically
and
not
stuff.
have eyebrows?
Like if you watch fan films, you'll see actors without makeup, and they look very strange.
Okay, that doesn't make sense. Speak and speech are spelled differently.
Don't worry about it.
Speech is spelled with an EA and speech is spelled with double E.
Why is that weird?
Because it's
they're
entirely
the
different,
same
but
word.
exactly the same word.
They're not the same words. I gave a speech is very different from I gave a speak. That doesn't make sense.
How do
They're
we
different words.
get
It's a
from
different form
speak
of
to
the same root
spoke? How
word.
does that conjugation work? Anyway,
Because
1
that's the
minute to the
past
next
tense.
episode, which is all about Jeffrey.
Yes.
Jeffrey and Saval.
And I get half an hour of the episode.
Okay, that's a good chunk. That'll give you the initial cold open, Jeffrey, and some initial negotiations with Jeffrey.
I think he'll do some yelling.
Oh, there's
He's
gonna
really
be a
good
lot
at
of yelling.
shouting.
Like
The
the thumbnail
Congress-
is when he's shouting at Saval. Well, shouting the name Saval, not at Saval.
Wow.
the
And
converse
now-
of what you said.
I gotta
so-
go. I have a student.
Is that
I'll be back.
there's always a movement in English to go to phonetic spelling because basically every other language is written and spoken the same way, and,
And English
we
is
are
stupid.
English is very
Well,
complicated. But the thing is,
That's
though,
not
when
close
you
to
look
true
at
because
when you
Hold
Eastern
that thought.
languages-
Everyone press play
Yeah.
in 5,
Yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1, play.
But when you
Okay.
look at words like no and do you know someone and no, I don't want any more tea, it's the KNOW and knowledge is
Yeah.
connected. So how do you convey that? So sometimes you do need to have quirky spelling because words are more related. And
Yeah.
they should
We
be
could change the
like,
pronunciation of no to match knowledge.
But in terms of written and spoken being the same in languages, so it's not close to true that most are the same.
All the good
because
ones
Eastern
are.
languages have entirely different written and spoken languages.
right. But just appreciate English the way it is. Don't ask too many
Is that-
questions.
Is that display they're hovering over? Is that the map from the intro sequence?
Possibly. It is interesting that they are doing ground combat here, considering you should just,
True.
well, I suppose they're both
Bomb.
fighting over land. Nobody owns the land, so they are doing land-based combat.
The Andorians own the land. It's Waitan. I'm with the Andorians in this episode, 100%.
Yes.
Waitan.
I'm with the Vulcans.
Of course you are. Bloody imperialist.
We are.
Vulcans think they can just come and take whatever they want.
You guys are just so aggressive. You just gotta chill out.
No. I've been chill for long enough. Anyway, how's the weather now?
I suppose it's alright. I've got my curtains closed, so I can't see outside.
Okay. Soma, have you been to Taco Bell?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't want to. And also, I don't know if there is even one in the UK.
We just established that there are.
Well,
And it's not that big a country. It'll take you like 20 minutes to drive to one.
it it takes as long. Pretty much as long a distance top to bottom in the UK as it is west to east in America. Not quite, but it is approaching as much.
Are you insane?
Let's
UK
see.
tiny. It's
You
barely
can fit
even
like
a
3
country.
UKs in Texas.
Measure distance coast to coast US is about 2,500, 2,600 miles, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
And then,
It's a quarter of the distance, I suppose.
which is
The distance
substantially
isn't
less.
equal. You can drive from one end to the other in a day.
It's
The Cannonball-
874 miles.
North to south of the UK is about the same distance as half the East Coast.
Half the east coast.
I suppose.
Yeah.
It's still a 10-hour.
Pathetic.
It's still like 4, 5, 6 hours to.
Are you
go from
counting down
bottom
to the
top.
tip? Are you counting down to the tip of
Some are-
Florida?
5
Michael?
to 6 hours
No,
is the time
Florida-
it takes for me to get to the nearest big city.
I don't count
suppose.
Florida for anything, Rob. Florida doesn't count for anything, Robo. It's not. I don't even think about Florida.
I can drive 6 hours and not leave my state.
Yeah, same.
That's true of my home state, not the one that I'm living in now. But
What are you in Rhode Island? What is the point of Rhode Island? Why
No.
does it exist?
Ohio is smaller than Pennsylvania, and I grew up in Pennsylvania, but I live in Ohio.
Yeah. Can we just like merge
I could
most of the
drive-
East Coast states into like 4 total? I don't think we need that weird conglomerate of tiny states.
But if we did that, then that would reduce, that would shift the balance in the Senate dramatically.
Let's change the Senate. The
I
Senate's
mean, yeah, go
screwed
ahead,
anyway.
let's do it.
The Senate isn't working anyway. Let's change the Senate and
I
redo
am
the
the
East
Senate.
Coast.
Sorry, I
I'll
step
make it
away to
illegal.
go grab a drink and go to the loo, and this conversation got.
And Ryan has
very
gone
weird.
all Palpatine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to
Well,
disband
I
the
have
Senate. I'm
dissolved
saying it needs to
the
change.
Galactic Senate. The last vestige of the old Republic is gone. I have reorganized the United States into the first united empire.
I
under
think you're
Ryan.
mixing a lot of prequels with sequels there.
I'm
There's some
mixing
merged
prequels with the
speeches.
original series. Yeah, okay, because I'm winging it here. It's improvisation.
You don't know the full speech?
I know all the speeches. I'm purposely combining them.
Sure. Archer called it Pon Makar. What a gross name.
That's how diplomatic negotiations work, dude.
It's not Pon Makar, it's Waiton.
You make them wait, because then
Oh.
once you see them, they'll be more ready to concede.
Yeah, okay,
But it's the
Jellicoe.
humans being made to wait, not the people on the other side of the discussion.
Yeah, they're supposed to be on the same team.
Is it Israel or Palestine?
It's a one-state solution, and that one state is the British Empire.
The Mandate of Palestine
You tried
Yes.
that already. How'd that work out?
and Transjordan? Okay.
There was peace there while we were in charge.
Peace, freedom, justice, and security.
No
I
one
mean-
said we have to have all of that.
His Majesty's government views with favor the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine.
Well,
Look, Archer's pips are still out of alignment. The 4th pip is lower than the others.
it's not like there's tailors on board the Enterprise, is there?
Are they? I just assume they pinned on,
know,
though. Or magnetic.
I do
No,
find it
no.
ironic.
So seriously, my uniform pins that pin on, and I still have to take them to tailor to get them fitted.
I do find it ironic that when we armed the Jews to take Israel, we gave them a bunch of surplus Nazi weapons, and like they had the Waffen crossed off, and they had a Star of David like engraved over top.
Yeah, but we were also giving them to Germans, so we were just giving them weapons that they knew how to use. Because a lot of the early Israelis were German refugees.
I don't think
Sure.
this episode is an Israel metaphor.
Mm.
I don't
Well,
think
but, I
that's
mean,
related.
Like a border conflict like that is laden with like you can't even agree about the words. Like, is it a fence or a wall? Like one
Mm.
side will say it's a fence, and the other side say no, you're building a wall, and like people have to come up with new terms like security barrier.
Yeah, barrier.
One side says
Mhm.
it's Weitan, the other side are imperialist conquerors.
Mm-hmm. But it's cool because you never get this conflict in the other series.
Mm.
Nearest Taco Bell's 100 miles away in Glasgow, so that's like an hour and a half drive. Do it. Go.
That's from where I am. That would be. I suppose that would be an hour and a half drive, ish. But I don't have a car.
Okay,
I am-
Glasgow.
I have serious questions
Whose
about
problem is that?
bombarding his immune system with radiation.
Hang on.
There's
So Elizabeth says her nearest Taco Bell's an hour and a half. Scooby says his nearest one is 100 miles away, which is about an hour and a half. Soma, you're about an hour and a half from Taco Bell. Why is everything an hour and a half?
You should just meet in Taco Bell and watch the watch along.
It's 2 hours from where I am to London.
So there's a lot of good reasons to go to Glasgow. I don't think Taco Bell would be.
I'd go to Glasgow for Taco Bell.
Scotland has a rich history and culture.
And Taco,
Taco
Bell.
Bell.
What, do they have the naked chicken chalupa that's just fried chicken in the shape of a taco shell?
There's
With
apparently
more-
one in. There's apparently one where I am though.
Then go.
This is the reason why we don't have warp drive yet.
Because you're too
busy with
about.
Taco Bell.
To
Yeah.
try and figure out
Man's gotta
where the
eat.
Taco Bell meetup is.
We could have a Taco Bell eat along.
That's what I was just thinking. Next week we could all be in a Taco Bell
It's
watching
5
Star
hours
Trek.
20 minutes from where I am.
I don't think we could
I'm eating
probably
Taco
be in the
Bell right
same
now.
Taco Bell. I mean, we could try. Be
You
a lot of effort.
No, I was thinking over Discord voice chat, all in Taco Bell, all also watching Star Trek.
Ah.
Tomorrow I'm bringing Taco Bell for the Voyager watch along.
Now, for reference, this is a joke. Please don't eat into your microphone.
The
If you're going to be eating Taco Bell, please have yourself muted while you're chewing.
Yeah, I flip my microphone up, but I also use broadcast, so you probably don't hear it even if I didn't. It's just
Not
a
generally,
convenience
no.
to not get my food in my
Right.
microphone.
The time by car from Land's End to Johnny Groats, which is about the longest distance in the UK, is 12 hours 45 minutes.
yeah.
Wait, what's 12 hours 45?
About the longest distance in the UK.
North
not
to
quite-
south.
Oh, okay.
It's not quite to the end of Cornwall, the boot, but it is the top to the bottom of the country. It's 12 hours 45 minutes.
Yeah, funny thing about Israel, it's only 6 hours drive across. Like it's like the size of New Jersey.
Yeah, it's tiny. So,
Yeah.
Did you see the episode of Top Gear where Jeremy races the sunrise across England and he beats it?
So for me to drive as far away as I could, be about 51 to 56 hours.
I mean, if you were in Australia, that would be just to the next town.
What do you mean drive away as far away as you could?
To the furthest point of the United States that I could reach by car.
Okay, okay. Across the country, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have
From
a
the
show
West
tomorrow,
Coast to
so
the East Coast.
Don't.
Has anyone ever heard of that challenge where you're basically
There's
you
an
have no
Andorian
money,
behind.
You've got no money or anything, and you have to get as far away as you can.
You mean poverty? Yes, I've heard of poverty.
I think I've heard it as like a hazing sport in universities, and supposedly a guy once got from Aberdeen to Greece with absolutely
Why?
no money.
Okay.
That's how you end up dead. That's how you end
Yeah.
up being in
Like-
Jeffrey
like-
Dahmer's basement.
Okay, wait. On a related note, this girl did a TikTok challenge. She had like a match, and she kept trading up, and she
Oh my
eventually got
God.
like a car, and then a
Yeah, there
house.
was a guy. There was a guy who did that with a red paperclip. Do you remember? It was called One Red
Hmm.
Paperclip, and he had a website.
You end up with
He
a
kept
house
trading.
or something.
Yeah, but have
Yeah,
any of
he
them
wanted to get a
ever
house.
have any of them ever got any magic beans out of that?
He kept
this
trading.
episode's-
You know,
Go ahead.
Just happens to have 2 hoods for someone else to come with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always
always
want to
have
keep
3
some
or 4
spares. What if one
hoods.
ripped on the way there?
This episode's crazy because
You always want to
like-
double bag your captain.
So they dump him directly in front of the map after using her hood.
Shran wants to like repay the favor for Archer, but Shran's assistant is against any form of peace with the Vulcans.
Archer is the perfect example of a human. He's in the middle of a war zone, surrounded by people with guns, and he's just making fun.
Yes.
He's chilling. Oh, Jeffrey.
Yes. The security precaution that involves sitting you directly in front of the map of the entire sector.
Well, presumably it doesn't like have a red X "you are here" marked.
Must have
It's a-
some information of use.
In TNG, whenever they're like beaming down in the middle of a civil war, they're in this like official hall of the government or whatever. They're never like in the battlefield like they are now.
except for the episode where Crusher gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
They're like in the caves. True.
In the episode where Picard gets injured, but they never show it, it's all off screen.
It's interesting that Archer refers to them as hostages when this is a war zone. They're just prisoners of war.
Hostages.
No, it's the future. The rules of war don't exist.
Has anybody
Geneva
even
Convention
died in
in
this
space.
war?
Yes, they do. Well, some people were wounded at least.
And
Considering they have antimatter weapons, it's a pretty good result. Like 2 injuries.
No, there's like 12 Vulcans injured, I think he said at the start.
Oh no, 12 Vulcans injured from our antimatter weapons.
like I love the lore here because the Andorians feel like they were forced to sign a humiliating treaty, and
Germany, is that
they
you?
are, yeah. But also China, after the century of humiliation, when like Japan, France, USA, Germany, they all had like ports along China's coast
Mm.
and soldiers.
Also, yes, that is Susie Plaxton. 100%. Also known as Kalar, also known as Female Q. Also Dr. Solar, but nobody really cares about Dr. Solar.
What are you doing with that dog? And I don't mean the puppy.
Yeah, that's clearly some network censorship there. There's a different word they wanted to say. Saval.
But this is not how diplomacy works.
Here it is. It's on screen. We can see it. It's working very well.
You don't have to kidnap the Secretary of State and Foreign Minister to work out a peace treaty.
They're not kidnapping. They want them to just come over to talk.
Come say hi. We're not going to do anything bad, honest.
It's Jeffrey. He would never. Now, maybe Susie would, but Jeffrey, no.
But again, the humans are instrumental in bringing peace to our galaxy.
Peace, freedom, justice, and security.
Truth, justice, and the American way.
I mean, Starfleet basically are just Americans in space. Especially this Starfleet.
Yep.
And we have the British dude, but nobody listens to him.
I like Ambassador Saval.
Yeah, especially when he turns traitor against the other Vulcans later.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's very unlikable in all the episodes, but this is the first episode where he's, like, actually cooperative.
Again,
Like-
you'd think that negotiation would be logical.
Yeah,
It'd be a
they're
lot
pretty
faster to
emotional
just
about it.
drop a bomb.
Mm.
A lot easier.
Yeah, like, in their heads, the Andorians are just very aggressive and not worth it.
So it really loosens up right at the end of this episode.
It's like the Israelis and Palestinians, they don't want to talk to each other.
I always love the bits where they just have to explain human metaphors. It's great. Didn't you hear the captain? The balls in our court.
Basketball reference.
Like they don't have
Play ball.
metaphors. Good that Archer's bringing a jacket.
They say everything literally. Nothing goes over their head because they would catch it. They are too fast.
I believe this is the second episode where they find a way around an extremely complicated treaty. No, third. A treaty that took years to work out, they just find a way around in 20 minutes. Super easy.
I name the Grisalians as
Grisellas.
arbiters of this dispute. They are currently in their hibernation period.
That's funny because Russia's
Not
about
to
to
shoot
invade
'em.
Ukraine over NATO. So treaties are very hard to renegotiate.
They also had to
why
get
does
around the
Netflix
treaty
say
with
it's Alien when we know who Shran is?
I don't know. Not a treaty, but a contract with Ardra.
Yeah. 1,000 years old. Come and do.
Oh my god, just shoot her, Shran. Use gun on subordinate.
In Star Trek 6, when the Federation and Klingons were out to make peace, there was elements of that society not willing to make
Oh,
peace.
to pose in Vulcan garb of some description.
Yeah, that's Vulcan combat gear. It's the same, but it looks a little more leathery. It's more brown.
A bit camouflage, a bit of protection.
Right. Leather's pretty good against arrows piercing the skin.
True. Also, apparently,
Are the
phasers.
Andorians using arrows?
Leave it. A student that doesn't for them.
A what? What?
I was helping someone with their math homework.
Oh.
But like, I get really irritated when the students just want me to do it for them.
What kind of math was it?
Pre-calc.
Oh, okay.
What's pre-calc?
It's like calc, but
it's
pre.
just an college algebra.
Okay.
So it's just like, in this case, it was transformations of like functions.
Oh, right, okay.
Oof.
So we had to like, find the
Big
period and the
crash.
phase shift and the other stuff.
So
No biggie.
in 2012, U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens was killed in Libya, and it was a huge kerfuffle. People, but I think this was before that. But an ambassador dying on the on mission is a pretty big deal, and it's very controversial. This was a
Not a good thing.
needless risk.
Typically, ambassadors are protected in war and that sort of thing. There's quite a lot.
Generally, you don't
agreement.
want to kill them. It kind of pisses people off. It doesn't
Especially
really
when
get you
he's-
anything.
Especially when he's the bloke turning up to try and end the war with a chat.
Right. But
Why are you taking
they're
off your
doing a
jacket,
Benghazi right
Saval?
here.
Why did you bring it in the first place if you were just going to leave it?
He's left it there because he's now
Oh,
needing
why
to
can't you
move
wear
more
that all
freely.
the time?
This is like the most reckless thing Archer has ever done to date.
It'll work out. Don't worry about it.
No, because if the ambassador dies,
We can get another ambassador.
no, we'll never have peace between Vulcans and Andorians. And no Federation.
They're an interstellar empire. They've got to have more than one ambassador they could send.
Nope, just the one.
Benghazi.
A kilometer?
Yes, they
What a
use
strange word.
proper metric units to run.
So they should be able to get there in like 10 minutes if they know the way, right? 15?
I love those
Yeah.
Vulcan ships. They're so cool.
There's another episode coming up, which is an homage to Star Trek 6. They even have the Klingon judge and the guilty plea
yes.
to Rura
Yep.
Pente. But
And Chancellor Martok. Lawyer Martok. This Vulcan looks like a bird for some reason. I think it's the nose.
He looks like a Romulan.
it looks like there's
They're
a
the
bird
same
on the
species. What do you mean?
he
Of course he looks
No,
like
he
a
looks-
Romulan.
looks more Romulan than most Vulcans. You know what I mean? He
You're racially
looks like
profiling the Vulcans. This is outrageous.
he's like an evolutionary throwback to when they were not
I
as
feel like that's
separated.
racist toward Romulans.
I want
You're
Taco
calling them
Bell.
an
Yeah, absolutely
evolutionary
is.
throwback?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Hey, look, it's Wayne. But he's blue.
That's Jeffrey.
Fran.
Would I be more aesthetically pleasing if I were blue? Yes, yes you would. He's lovely.
She's a liar.
That's funny because that is actually what Cisco does later on, of course.
Well, before, but yeah.
You know, he really hates on DS. He doesn't like DS9's later seasons, Rick. So maybe this is a dunk
'Cause
on DS9.
That's when they cut him out of the show finally. Right.
I don't think they
When
really
is
cut
Rick
him
Berman's-
out more than he was busy working on other things.
Right.
What is Rick
Because he
Berman's
was
last
always the
episode?
top
Is
man
it
in
just
charge.
is he here throughout all of Enterprise?
No, he leaves for season 4 and Matty Kodo takes over.
Okay.
But he comes back to write These Are the Voyages
Of
with
course he
Brannon.
did. Thanks,
Big
Rick.
mistake.
And he left that terrible like cliffhanger where there's Nazis.
Nazis.
I mean, I agree. Trip is the central character of Enterprise. You didn't have to kill him though.
They should not have killed Trip. That was so stupid. Why'd they do that?
No, but
Okay,
how
he
does
got
the
better
last
in a
episode-
book.
How does the last episode take place 2 years after the rest of the series?
10
Explain-
years.
Yeah. What?
And they all have name tags, so Riker knows who they are. I refuse to believe the name tags are anything other than the hologram program. It makes sense. Like, how would Riker know these people without name tags?
Well, they have name tags already on their environmental suits, their
Alright.
spacesuits.
Hi, Wolf. Today, see you guys around.
But just Jeffrey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have fun at Taco
Well,
Bell.
we only see Trip die on the holodeck.
It's Stargate.
We only see Trip die on the
Yeah.
holodeck, so I don't accept that as actually a real death.
Yeah, maybe that was just an approximation. Maybe it was just for dramatic effect. Creative poetic license.
Where it's all a dreaming, this episode. You know,
Years.
it was all a dream. It was all in the holodeck. It doesn't count. It's not how it actually went down.
Oh, I missed my
Have you guys
favorite
ever
line.
noticed that
What'd you-
Rick looks a
what is
lot
it?
like Data, the actor?
What is their obsession with our ears?
Yeah, they're jealous.
It's Freudian jealousy.
But I like
They
this
have
line
ear
here too.
envy.
If you stayed in San Francisco, you'd be like High Commissioner by now. Like, T'Pol really is an extraordinary person.
I like T'Pol.
Do
Isn't it quite
Vulcans
funny
have
how-
money?
The only character I genuinely like in Enterprise.
I'm pretty sure she's on Earth as
You
a
don't like Trip?
diplomat. So why is she all of a sudden a science officer?
Because
She's a big brain. Like she's a Vulcan. She like knows
Vul-
more than humans.
Vulcans
She's
are
not.
big brain.
She's not a science officer as far as the Vulcans are concerned. But yeah, she's still smarter than every human on the ship. So whatever, it counts. It's good enough.
But to be fair, that is the best logic for the
I mean,
She may have
situation.
been in like a science consultant to the ambassadors, though. In all seriousness,
Every Vulcan is a scientist, though.
Mm.
I don't think
No,
that's
to
true.
be
She
fair,
did
that's-
go to the Vulcan Science Academy, so she is a scientist.
Right.
She isn't
mean-
pulling double duty here.
See, but we have Starfleet Academy. They only have a science academy. There's no Vulcan philosophy academy. As far as
But I
I'm
mean,
sure they
but-
have one. I don't think there's
Archer
any
was-
basis for that.
It was totally fair for Archer to be suspicious of her being placed on the ship because she's a spy. She works with the Vulcan Security Ministry, or she used to,
Yeah, there's a Vulcan
Ooh.
security ministry. Presumably that doesn't have anything to do with
and
the science
she was the
academy.
one they assigned to Enterprise. No, it's not espionage. She's not there to spy on you. It's all
Of
legit.
course she is.
like their leading
Aw.
institution is the science academy. Like even before we knew about the High Council, we knew about the science academy.
Mm. Well, yeah, the Science Academy survives the Federation of Vulcan joining the Federation. But the High Command probably doesn't survive that, does it?
They got
Sure,
to
it still
keep.
exists as like the local Vulcan government.
They got
Yeah,
to
but
keep the
that's-
Science Academy. Earth got Starfleet.
This-
Everyone
the-
got to keep a
The
department.
Vulcan High Command doesn't survive Enterprise.
Right.
They're
Yeah, it does.
replaced.
True.
They're dissolved before the end of this series.
Aren't they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like the positions replaced, but they're still the same organization?
No, they
I think
reformed the
they
whole
changed
government.
the name. I think they changed
To
the name, but I don't know what they
something
changed it
less,
to.
So I do believe they chose something less fascist.
I don't think High Command is necessarily fascist.
There-
just because
There's
of the
no
I don't know,
Vulcan
it-
government in TNG.
Though
it's
I
kinda
do think the
fascist.
Vulcans are.
Well, yeah, they don't need a government. They're
It's-
part of
right.
the Federation.
Right. It's like there was no Austrian government during the Nazi era. Like it was just part
Yeah,
of
there was.
the Reich.
Sure, there
It was
was.
called the Anschluss. No, there was no Austria. It was part of Germany.
You'd still have local government. You'd still have Austrian government. They might answer to the what would it be called,
The-
Reichstag or
The Anschluss was the union of those two countries. So anyway.
haven't fired a weapon if it is. You just click the button,
So it says
just
that
fire wildly.
It says the Vulcan High Command was disbanded, but they are referenced in Voyager.
Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Ooh.
Inconsistent writing.
So I guess by disbanded they did just mean the actual people in the High Command.
Basically, just watch Surak's writings, okay? They keep the hologram handy.
I mean, basically, at some point, the entire Vulcan society is reformed somewhere in between Enterprise and TNG.
And
Yeah,
then
but
it's reformed
interestingly,
again
in
between Enterprise and Discovery.
In DS9, we do have Vulcan-only ships. So,
True.
like,
In TOS, we did
Yeah,
as
but
well.
they're human built.
I think it's
Okay.
pretty. I think it's a pretty fair assumption
I think Archer
that
just murdered a
there's
man.
ships of all species.
Do you think
because like
that?
each
Do you
species
think
would
that?
want like environmental controls at a specific level and whatnot.
Yeah, we,
you think
we
when
get
that
a
Vulcan
reference to
crew
the
took
Vulcan
delivery-
Defense Forces in TNG.
And I think it's kind
Do
of
you think-
absurd to assume that
No, I don't
Starfleet
think they're all
is like
robo.
all humans.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you
like
suppose that when the Vulcans took delivery of that Nebula class, that they had to like de-smell it, like they had to go through and scrub all
just
the
vented
everything
into
down with like
space.
tomato juice to
like,
get rid of the
you'd
human
expect
smell?
like Vulcan ships to be hot and they wouldn't smell like anything. And
They smell like sand and
mhm.
disdain.
Uh,
Yeah.
I thought they smelled like
It's the lady.
Flomac broth and
It's Susie.
sadness.
Women are truly devious creatures.
They are, according to
Also, how did she not hear him sneaking up
shoot
on
her.
her with her antenna?
Shooter.
The antennas are just for emotion signaling.
There is no stun setting.
Of course, there's no stun setting. It's a gun. Shooter. Your Glock doesn't have a stun setting.
What happened to
That's
Tilly in
correct.
Discovery?
Wait,
Like,
what
why
about
did
Discovery?
they write her off? Like, is it actor conflicts or what?
Who?
Tilly in Discovery.
Oh,
I thought about her because she's married to the guy who plays that Andorian who has his antennas cut off.
Yeah.
So that's how my brain got to this.
I think she's gonna. I don't think she's gone. I think she's gonna show up in a different capacity.
Mm. Yeah, I know she's coming back in a limited capacity, but
I
I
don't know,
like
maybe she
Tilly.
just
I'm
wanted to do
sad that
something
she's
else.
gone.
Maybe she got bored. What's her name? Mary. I guess Mary just wants to do something else.
Mary Wiseman. Maybe.
What was the point of that, Susie?
It's like they kind of replaced Tilly with Adira. Like they're kind of the same character that Tilly is.
We
Or
don't need
was,
two
I guess.
Rid
quirky
of Tilly?
people.
They got rid of Tilly?
Not exactly. It's
On Discovery?
complicated.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Though I thought they wrote Saru out, and Saru is still there. As co-captain.
There's too many characters on Discovery that I just are kind of
All I
blend
want
together, you know? It's just
is
too much
development
overlap.
for OO and Detmer. That's all I want from Discovery.
I don't know. I
I'll
think I
never
watched the
get
first
that.
2 seasons. And that's it.
The-
I don't really. There wasn't a whole lot of really memorable
The
characters.
Andorians and Vulcans are about to go into full-fledged war, and they're telling Trip.
Yeah,
to
it's
move
called
back.
Waiton. Tell him.
And we can't do that because we need to rescue Captain Archer.
God, this is Tucker's favorite maneuver here is to just threaten to fire on stronger ships, and hope that they're going to view Enterprise as like a puppy that they're not willing to kick, and it always works.
It might create a diplomatic incident.
Nobody wants to shoot Enterprise, even though it would be super easy. But it's like, no, we can't hurt them. They're so cute with their tiny little spaceship. Also, yes, I think that is Kevon.
They don't even know if Saval's alive.
They got human life signs, so, probably Saval's okay too. It's all over, Susie. Jeff's here now. He's gonna solve it.
I wish they went for a less recognizable design for the NX-01.
What? You want them to make it look
something
worse?
that doesn't look so Star Trek-y.
I don't know. I
It
feel
should
like
looked like more human.
it's different enough when they remove the secondary hull or the primary, the bottom bit.
So
I think they need to not have the saucer section and give the saucer section to like the Andorians or someone, so there can be like this visual language of the Federation design elements spread out among the founding members.
I also like how Jeffrey immediately believes Archer over his own fellow officer.
Hmm.
Well, he trusts Archer for some
he does
reason.
trust Archer. But
He likes
also,
Archer.
the last time Soval, T'Pol, Archer, and Shran were down, that was also a hostage situation.
There's also that bit in TNG where Geordi's brainwashed into being a spy. And at the very end of the episode...
Yeah, that happens more than once.
At the very end of the episode, Data's like, oh, there are only two suspects who it could be. It was either Captain
all of a
Picard or
sudden-
Ambassador Kill. And dude immediately turns to Ambassador Kill. Doesn't even consider it might be Picard. Everyone always trusts the human.
Why is Shran being subtitled as alien in this bit?
Well, he is an alien.
But Tara is being subtitled with her name.
We have subtitles now? No, we don't.
Oh, sorry, I'm watching it on Netflix with subtitles.
Damn, imagine having access to
Mr.
Star
Fancy
Trek on
Pants here.
Netflix.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Well,
I know Netflix, not Star Trek.
I think
Sorry,
we're going to
let me
lose
use
it
a British
like
reference. Look at Mr. Alan Sugar over here.
I think we're probably going to lose it at like the end of January or something.
You're going to lose
That's
Alan?
sad.
Yeah,
Netflix.
fucking Paramount Plus is releasing in the UK, and we're going to lose goddamn Netflix and Amazon versions of Star Trek.
Corporate
Apparently,
Daddy wants
Discovery
to
got
know.
absolutely fucked over this season by the being dropped from Netflix or something. in the
Oh,
UK.
I don't know any British people who are watching it on Paramount Plus. They're either watching it illegally or not watching it at all. I haven't seen any of this season of Discovery.
What? Who would download an episode of Star Trek?
I know.
That's
It's
crazy.
You
unacceptable.
want to download a starship, would you?
Yes.
Oh, I
would.
absolutely would if I could.
That's what replicators do. You download the pattern and just
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it.
In Prodigy, they have a vehicle replicator.
Yeah, which I assume Voyager must have had based on the number of shuttlecraft.
Yeah, I think they're just called industrial replicators, though.
Let's say,
As mu-
you
I think
did a
it's
video.
completely reasonable to assume that Voyager had one.
I mean, isn't it established at some point that the ships are replicated, like massive scale replicated?
I'm not sure.
I assume we get a
But
bit
I
of
think
that in
that's
Star Trek
implied.
Picard, but I don't remember. Utopia
At
Planitia,
least the parts
flashback.
are, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be input.
Like, why
it might
wouldn't
not
they
be
be?
until Picard that they actually establish that.
You know, as much as we can criticize
Looks like
Rick
a
Berman
mana potion from Morrowind.
and Brandon Braga, like this little ship is doing so much good in our nascent galaxy. It's a pretty cool theme to have moments like these. Two implacable enemies.
So is it just me, or does that other Vulcan look like a bird? Not Saval. Saval doesn't look like a bird.
Is there any lore about like why the saucer section is a thing?
Well,
Apparently it's
because
to do with
they
Aerodynamic.
Warp field efficiency.
They were inspired by
lore.
aliens.
were inspired by, yeah, in the '60s. I'm sure that the ship design was inspired by flying saucers and bullshit like that.
I like the Daedalus class. I would have gone with spherical.
I love the Daedalus class. That is my favorite class of starship, I'd say.
Me too.
It is so cool.
Was the
you know-
USS Pasteur Daedalus?
No, but
It was a
close.
newer
But
variant of it.
I do want to see that
Olympic
piece of the action episode.
Oh
I think
wait,
it's my
Daedalus
favorite
class
TOS
is that
episode.
ball on a stick. So what was the
Yeah.
USS?
That's the one where they
Pasteur.
stun a city.
It was like an
with
homage to that.
phaser.
The Pasteur
What
was
class is
that was Olympic class, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Olympic.
Olympic class is
Yeah.
Pasteur.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't think it looks as good as the Daedalus.
What?
I mean,
Clearly,
Pasteur.
Moon likes the classic TOS Enterprise. So or
Yeah, I like the original series design language the best for the exteriors.
All right. So
weird.
that's the end of Enterprise for today. Tomorrow is a horrifying 3 episodes. Well, 2 episodes. One's okay.
Oh, I thought we had good ones coming up for Voy.
Oh, they're good, but they're horrifying. One of them is
Which ones?
Deadlock, where there are 2 Voyagers and one of them gets boarded by Vidians, and it's horrifying.
Sounds good.
The next one is Innocence, where Tuvok has to like make children cope with death. It's pretty good, and
I
there's
mean,
a cave.
they're not children.
Well, they're played by children.
And it's like Benjamin Button.
Yeah, they're Benjamin Button species.
I like that episode a lot. That's a really good Tuvok episode where he
Yeah,
picks up the kid and says, "You go over here," and then he picks up the other kid and says that you stay here. It's very cute. I thought.
All the episodes tomorrow are great, but the third one is also The Thaw with the evil clown.
Yes, that episode is so weird.
And I really don't want to watch it. It's really
Janeway's
good, but I don't want to
cold.
watch it.
I love it.
Anyway, that's tomorrow. And then next week, Enterprise is anything good? Something about the future. There's a prison transport. And the crew gets possessed by alien ghosts. Okay. Should be good.
And then next week Voyager will be the last for season 2 Voyager.
Yes.
Basics Part 1, where Seska comes back with the vengeance.
And Tuvix is going to be in
so
next
cool.
week.
All right.
Tuvix.
Tuvix is next week. Good.
We can all second guess Janeway's decision. I see cold-hearted.
I
Second-
support
second guess.
Janeway. I support Janeway.
Now, do you support
you're right,
Janeway on the
David.
basis that it was the morally or pragmatic correct thing to do, or just because you hated Tuvix?
I don't hate Tuvix. I'm even sympathetic to Tuvix. But I think saving Neelix and Mr. Vulcan, what the hell is his name?
Tuvok?
Tuvok.
Tuvok.
I think saving Tuvok and Neelix is a no-brainer.
However, Tuvix
especially
is
because
done...
it's like unclear what exactly like separating Tuvix actually means. Like, does Tuvix actually die? Like he kind of lives on inside of Tuvok and Neelix. Also, it's a survival situation where having a Tuvok and a Neelix is, in theory, more valuable than having a Tuvix.
But we're
Like,
going
I
to get
think
a much
if it
better
wasn't a
version of
survival
Tuvix in
situation,
Enterprise.
like it becomes a little bit more iffy on whether separating them is okay or not.
Is it okay to murder Sim to save Trip?
Oh my god, that episode.
It's
I
just
hate
Tuvix too.
It is kind of like Tuvix, except it's different because it actually involves killing someone. But it's also
Well,
not because he's also going to die tomorrow.
They didn't make Tuvix on purpose. They,
They didn't make
made
him.
Sim on purpose.
Yeah, and Sim was also going to die in an episode. I think Sim is a much worse episode than Tuvix. I think Tuvix is a pretty good
What?
episode.
Similitude is like one
They
of the
made-
best episodes of Enterprise.
Really?
It's so good.
You like it?
I love it.
I
They
don't.
made Sim
think
to
it's
die.
awkward and
Tuvix they made on accident.
You're
But
awkward.
we made peace between the Vulcans and the Andorians today, so long live
For now.
peace.
We'll see how long that
just-
lasts.
I'm surprised that you like that episode. I've never heard of anyone liking that episode.
It-
I don't say it's wrong. I won't say that it's wrong to like it. I just am surprised.
It is
Does
wrong.
anyone else
It
share
is
my
wrong to
opinion
like
that
it.
Similitude
You're
is good?
bad.
I don't know.
Is it just me? Michael?
Yeah, it's one of my
Crayola?
least favorites.
Mr. Crayon?
Like, if
Why
I have,
does
like, a
Sim
top 20
have
worst
Tucker's memories?
Star Trek Enterprise episodes,
Because-
it would definitely be on there.
In Star Trek, memories are for some reason carried in DNA. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Memory is stored in the DNA.
He
Okay, we're done here.
gains his
Stream's over. I'm
memories as
leaving.
he ages, doesn't he?
This is
Yeah.
done.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, he gains them.
Go away.
Bye.
Ah.